Talk shoes. Recorded live.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Müvment Boxing Podcast. Our 13th episode. Welcome. We were coming off a couple weeks of explosive boxing action, so we definitely got a lot of good topics again for you today, as usual. A lot of controversial topics that we're going to get into. So feel free to call in and comment, with us on the chat or even, over the phone live. So either or, 724-444-7444. Call code is 142097. So call in. Once again, I got my co-host on as usual, General Panel. We got Big Cool of Colossal Boxing Talk. Welcome back. How's it going, man? How you doing, man?
Going good, man. Happy to be back with the fellows, man. So, good.
All right, that's what's up. We got Bo and Menard of the Truth and Facts About Boxing Talk. How y'all doing today, fellas, man?
Was really good. Shout out to Angel Garcia with the fuckery today. Was really good. He out there with that chopper. He send them messages to Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman will have man. Hey, I gotta start off with the fuckery today, man. AKA Mr. Fuckery, the fuckery. So Angel Garcia right now is bringing that fuckery to y'all, man. Well, other than that, I'm doing good. What's up, Bo? I guess Bo's doing good too.
He eating right now. He eating.
All right. And we got TK the God, of course, of the guys of Boxing Talk, man. What's going on, man? What's good, fella?
What's good, man? Chilling, man. Whole lot of shit to talk about this day. Whole lot.
Definitely, man. So let's go ahead and get it kicked off. I don't know where the hell Bo is. Bo, get your bald-headed ass on, man. Alright. Let's get it kicked off, man. We're going to start off, man, reviewing these fights. We kicked it a little bit later because of, the holidays. So, we got some time to go over both. We're going to start off with the Andrzej Ward card. Man, there's so much going on that card. Let's go ahead and start off with Claressa Shields, man. She made her debut successful in her, with a successful victory against her opponent in her debut, against the opponent she had fought in the amateurs, of course. What did you guys make of her fight, and basically what do you think as far as her potential, in the future? Let me go and start it off with Big Cool on this one.
I mean, it was explosive like I thought it was. She came out guns blazing and looking to make a point. She did get tagged some early, but she composed herself as the fight went on, and I expect her to be just as successful as she was in the amateurs as a pro and win multiple titles. I mean, she electrifying when she's 21. Seemed to be 100% dedicated and really wants to, make a mark for not only herself but women's boxing in general. So I expect her to get better from here on out and continue to provide exciting fights and really, make that impact in women's boxing to get, to gravitate more people towards it and give it a chance. So I think she did great for her pro debut.
Okay, let me pass it to Menard on this one, man. First half of the Truth and Facts About Boxing Talk. We had her amateur foe, Francine Cruz for her first fight, which is, it's pretty cool. She had a familiar foe that, was coming to bring it. So, they didn't go light on her in her debut. That's something I actually liked about it. It was somebody that, actually was familiar with her and, was going to come and bring it, So I was happy about that. They didn't put her in there with no super sucker. What did you think about her debut, Menard?
Man, I want to sit here. Me and you was at the fight, and we saw it. So I want to sit there. It was a great debut. I want to be honest. I understand. Big Cool said that she got tagged. Yeah, she got tagged, but let's be honest too, though. Her opponent came in there to make a statement too as well and try to bully her. but
True.
she stood her ground. The first round, you know, she came kind of hard, but you gotta look at it like this: when her opponent gassed out by the second or end of the second into the third round, Claressa kept her composure, like you said, kept her stamina. It stuck to her game plan and won the fight. So, and then after that, the people gave her a standing ovation. As me and Twiles could tell you that they gave her a standing ovation after that fight. She did excellent
that
job.
was actually probably one of the highlight bouts of that card. It wasn't too well received live. Claressa was actually probably one of the highlight fights of that whole card, so I'll go ahead and give her props on that. I got to see her in her draws at the weigh-in. She's hot little chocolate thing with her, you know, got her little evil eyebrows and stuff going. But,
she posed nude, right? She ain't nude, but she got photos of being naked, but like she's being covered by a heavy bag.
I'm gonna have to check that out, man, and see if they got some cheeks on it.
Well, we keep
after
we off air, man. We want to keep it, you know, we don't want nobody to perceive anything. So after air.
Let me go ahead and pass it over to TK on this one, man.
Okay.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, man. Y'all motherfuckers crazy, man.
Hey, Bernard almost looked up and said my name, too, so whatever, man.
Let me go ahead and pass it to 2K on this one, man. What did you think of her debut as far as what's her potential in that weight limit in the women's division? What do you see happening for her? Because I know you're a lot more informed about women's boxing than a lot of us, so you might be able to break down where she stands in her actual division.
Yeah, that division is very meek. It's worse than the 160-pound division in men's boxing. So, I mean, she already on top as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? It really like, the real division in women's boxing is a lower division, man. You know, like where Cecilia Brackets is at and lower. So that's where a lot of the competition is at. But I mean, Frenchon Cruz she was game as fuck. That was her debut too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and she had Barry Hunter in her corner. Barry Hunter was doing a good job with her.
She came to bring it, yeah. She came to bring it, man.
Claressa looked really good. But also, you know, Frenchon Cruz looked good too, man. She caught Claressa with some nice overhand rights. I remember one in particular. Claressa overimposed herself, and Frenchon Cruz stepped back, threw that overhand right, caught her ass flush. You know what I'm saying? So she's not a dumb fighter. But she went in there and, you know, tried to bully her, because just basically showing her, like, hey, motherfucker, I know you from the amateurs. I know you, you know, better than any of these motherfuckers out here that are hyping you up. I'm not afraid of you. So she went out there and gave her the, you know, tried to give her the business anyway. But after round two, you know, that shit was a clear Claressa Shields.
Right, she
whooping her ass at that point.
Got out of there.
Yeah, round 4, she almost knocked her ass out. Absolutely, she hurt her real bad.
The skills definitely came on display later on. I guess she had some minor nerves starting out, you know, pro debut, but she definitely was in the full form come into the fight, and she had me pretty hyped. And you know, Menard brought some new fans to the sport, you know what I'm saying, to the fight, and you know, they had a good time when they loved her fight. So, you know, Claressa did her thing. Yeah, Claressa did her thing, man.
She hit her ass with some nice right hooks. But I want to give a shout-out to Sky Sports, man, because them motherfuckers had to fight live, B. Like, HBO, they didn't air that shit. Of course not. Sky Sports, man, them motherfuckers know they boxing. The British people know they boxing. They care about the sport way better than Americans do. That's why they were able to air this shit live. Shout out to Sky Sports, man. That's the only motherfucking shit I watch. fuck HBO, man. Fuck all these American telecasts. I fuck with Sky Sports, fam. Real talk.
You know what? Big up on that, 2K. Big up on that, because I had no idea they had televised that fight. I was thinking it wasn't going to be televised. I know on the American telecard it wasn't televised. So, I was one of the things we were kind of upset about on our previous show when we had talked about her debut. So I'm glad Sky Sports went out of their way to do it. She's definitely worthy of the coverage. I don't know why American coverage wouldn't do it, being that she's a 2-time Olympian champion. Pretty shame. I think it's a shame on HBO's part for not airing that fight, especially considering the rest of the card. That probably was a highlight fight of the bout for some of us. Let me go ahead and pass it on the bald-headed ass Bo. What's going on with you, fella? What did you make of Claressa's debut? And where do you see her going as a professional, man? Do you see her having the same dominance that she did in the Olympics or in her amateur career?
Yeah, it's possible she can have that same dominance. It was a shame that this fight wasn't televised live. They missed an opportunity to. It was a good fight, like 2K said. It was on Sky Sports, and I was able to catch it on stream from them. So, but I mean, they always show all the undercards before the main events, so that's nothing new. I mean, they know how to do it to give the fans the good fights. But yeah, it was a good fight. She came in. She didn't fight like I thought she would. I thought she would fight more like she did in the Olympics, but she came in to, I guess, to probably show people that she trying not to be a boring fighter, show people that hey, she can get in there, and go at it and grind it and grit it out. The girl she fought was came to fight also, and was a main rivalry of Claressa Shields doing the amateur. So I give both of them props for taking a tough fight in their debut fight. You normally don't see stuff like that. And she came to fight. Now she got caught with some punches that I was just like, wow, you letting yourself get, she got caught with some punches that we didn't see her get caught with in the amateurs. But it is a difference when you don't have, it just is a difference from amateur to pro. But she came, she gave a good fight, and I give both of them props for that. But the potential of women boxing is there, but the problem is, are the promoters, the networks, and everybody else willing to give it to put the money behind it to give it the push that it needs to go where it can go? That's going to be the big issue.
And that's actually what I was expecting to see, especially with somebody with her brand. I would expect Rock Nation to showcase that, especially her debut. So it's still a surprise that it wasn't televised. It didn't get more press or coverage as far as her debut. But I want to say congrats to Claressa on her professional debut, her debut victory. And, the sky's the limit for her, man. We definitely wanted to spend a lot more time on her fight because she didn't get the television coverage in the States that, she definitely deserved. We're going to move it on to some of the other undercards on the fight, which was full of controversy, man. We're going to go with Curtis Stevens, James De La Rosa, try and make it brief. I'm going to kick it off with 2K the God on this one, man. How are we looking on this one? I know it was a pretty controversial decision. For Curtis Stevens in the victory, retaining his regional belt. The cerebral assassin. He wasn't too methodical in his approach in this fight. 2K, kick it off, man. What'd you see, man?
He never really is. He's talking about Stevens. He's just a come forward, try to knock you out type of nigga. He's not technical in any way, shape, or form, nor does he ever use his brain. I mean, as we saw against Triple G, he was getting hit by the same shit until he got evidently knocked out. I want to shout out my man, A.C. Clark. That's James De La Rosa's manager. He's been on my show a couple times as a guest. De La Rosa did an excellent job after getting, I think he got knocked down, if I'm not mistaken, in like the second round.
Yeah, it's one of the early rounds.
Yeah.
First round.
He did first round. He did an excellent job getting up after that knockdown and outboxing Curtis Stevens in the latter half of that fight. I think I came in and I started watching, I think, at round 3 or 4, And Stevens was, he was dictating the pace at that time. And then I saw this shit gradually change over to James De La Rosa. That fucking jab was ridiculous. Curtis Stevens has no fucking head movement. He only comes forward. I mean, he don't even keep his guard high enough to even catch the jab on his gloves. I mean, all I saw was his head snapping back. And one particular thing that James De La Rosa did, Stevens came forward. De La Rosa stepped back, popped that jab, hit Curtis Stevens. Stevenson's head went up, and then De La Rosa pointed up at the ceiling like, nigga, what the fuck you looking at? That shit was hot, fam. I think that was like round 7 or 8.
Yeah, De La Rosa was over there clowning, man. Menard was over there having a good time laughing at De La Rosa clowning in there, man. Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to pull that showboat shit, man.
I mean, he was outboxing the shit out of him. That's why he was doing it. And I think, while I think the winner wasn't a robbery, I think the scorecards were fucking ridiculous. I mean, they were wide as hell. I mean, it was like one of them only had De La Rosa winning like 2 rounds or some shit like that. I mean, that was complete bullshit. But I could see Stevens edging out maybe a point just because of the knockdown. But I had De La Rosa winning that fight. I felt he should have won that fight.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is a night near in controversy on that card as far as scoring is concerned in a couple of fights. Yeah, so we will go ahead and continue on, TK. I know you said you had De La Rosa up. Do you think the knockdown was the key in basically the decision? Because those were some wide scorecards outside of the knockdown.
Right.
Pretty bad on my.
I mean, it was a combination of the knockdown and then Curtis Stevens was dictating the pace early in the fight. I mean, it was only a 10-round bout. If it would have went 12 rounds and the fight would have kept going the way it was, then De La Rosa probably would have won by maybe 2 points on that card. But the fact that it was a 10-round bout and Curtis Stevens pretty much controlled the pace with the knockdown within the first 5 rounds, I could see him winning that fight. But I still had De La Rosa taking it.
All right, we're going to pass it over to the Big Cool on this one. What were your thoughts on the Curtis Stevens, James De La Rosa fight? We're going to try and keep this brief and go on to the next one.
Same old Curtis Stevens, man. He got the physical. He got the power. I ain't going to say he got the physical tools because he's shown time and time again in fights that he's been heavy favorites. Toriano Johnson, also boy defeated Quilla knockdown like 6,000 times.
Nick Hassan N'Dam.
And
N'Dam. I think he should call. I ain't gonna say I never want to be that guy to tell somebody to retire, but I mean I don't see him ever reaching that level that he's aspiring to be. He has a mental block whenever he's faced with adversity. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think I don't think he's cut out to be a boxer. You know, that's crazy that Sam he's been boxing for a long time, man. If you don't,
nigga.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm like, you know what's weird is he showed so much improvement in his first bout under John David Jackson against old boy from the undefeated cat. You know, they had brought him in there pretty much to be the journeyman contender against old boy, and lose.
I told my co-host Seth that was a fucking fluke. I told him, bro, because he said the same thing. I was like, nah, nigga, that's a fluke.
I'm telling you, he looked really good in that fight. Like, it looked like a revamped Curtis Stevens, like we saw. Okay, I can understand your cerebral assassin approach now because you came with it differently against an undefeated prospect. But, you know, man, it was like a regression step against De La Rosa. De La Rosa was in there clowning his ass, man, and I don't know.
Steven, let me take that. I ain't gonna say he's not cut out to be a fighter, but Steven never really impressed me. Somebody, you know what I'm saying, that is equally and as skilled as him, or maybe slightly skilled. He always overwhelms the guys that he should overwhelm. But I mean, he has a mental block whenever you just tell on his face when the going get tough. He kind of be like, damn. You know, he just hoping he hoping that power ends, but I mean, it wasn't no controversy.
Can we say we saw some flaws in John David Jackson over that weekend as well? The adjustment game was just not happening. in both of his fights. So, you know what I'm saying, a lot of that has got to be put on his trainer or let him take it so easy. You know, John David Jackson was in there chewing his doublemint extra hard. You know, that's all I seen him doing the whole night was chewing his doublemint. Between that fight and Kovalev, you know, that's all he was doing in the corner was chewing his goddamn gum.
He had a lot of shit to say in that award fight, or neither way. You know?
Yeah, that's all he was doing was chewing his goddamn gum over there, man. He looked like he's over there smelling like Old Spice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit!
Oh, Spice smelling like Old Spice and Big Red. Oh, pimp ass nigga. What you
like shit. I got my ass. He didn't look comfortable in that corner, man. Put it like that. He was trying to. It was bad. Look, man. That's fucked up.
And that's between both fights, man. It wasn't a good look for John David Jackson on that night. But we gonna move it on to Mighty Mo Hooker and his fight, man. Another controversial decision in which he actually came out with the victory. Maurice Hooker, super lightweight contender.
No,
pretender, super lightweight pretender.
With a draw.
Yeah, well, you know, based on you know, pretty much he's an NABF champion now himself right now, or the NABL titleist.
Something like that.
Yeah, but you know, he went against a tough veteran in Darlis Perez. Perez has always been a game dude, so we knew it wasn't going to be no punk stuff, even with Mighty Mo's, you know, impressive feats that we've seen before as far as knockouts. You know, I knew it wouldn't be an easy one. I expected him to actually be able to do it, but he couldn't pull the trigger in the fight for some reason. Let me go ahead and start it off with Bo on this one, man. What did you make of Mighty Mo Hooker's fight? Did this do any damage to him coming up as a prospect right now, or his I guess just his credibility right now in the sport as far as where he is in the rankings in that division? What did you make of the fight between Mo Hooker and Darlis Perez?
Hell yeah, it did damage to him. It did damage to him. First of all, what do we always say? He's supposed to use your advantages. Well, he wasn't doing none of that. He wasn't using his height. He wasn't using his reach. He was allowing a guy with lesser talent to just outwork him, outthink him, outmaneuver him, outposition him. And I think at one point he even got hurt in the fight. The guy even hurt him in the fight. But the worst thing about it is, and this is why people feel the way they feel, it was the worst fucking decision that I've ever seen in a fight amongst prospects in a long time. I mean, that was straight bullshit. When people talk robbery, that was a fucking robbery. They gave this dude a draw to keep him undefeated and to keep him relevant because they got plans for him, and that's just the bottom line. There's no shape, form, like, I'll be honest with you, as far as I'm concerned, after watching him in this fight, he gonna have to do a lot of shit to redeem himself to me, because all this talk about him being a contender, you can't tell me you're a contender when you can't get a guy like when a guy like this, he got totally dominated as far as I'm concerned the majority part of this fucking round. The dude outworked him, out fucking maneuvered him, out goddamn positioned him. I mean, he made Maurice Hooker look like a goddamn amateur, like he just walked in the gym and put on
I
definitely agree.
I definitely agree with that. It's one thing not to knock him out, but he didn't even outbox him. I mean, if you're not going to knock him out.
That's what I'm saying.
He didn't do shit. He looked horrible.
Listen, I'm watching this fight. I'm watching his legs. He's not moving his feet. He's not moving legs. And I'm asking myself, damn, did the nigga fuck all night and didn't rest? Or what? I mean, what the hell? Because I wasn't expecting that, but props out. But like I always say, sometimes the cherry pick don't know he's a cherry pick. And the dude he fought, he came, and he came, and not to lose, he came to prove, hey, you just ain't finna walk over me.
Booker might be good, man.
See, if motherfuckers not talking shit about what you just said, but I agree 100% what you said, but I just want to get it out there. A lot of motherfuckers that don't know boxing didn't know who Darlis Perez was.
Yeah, Perez is a game guy. Perez is a game guy. I didn't know Perez is a game guy.
Right. I didn't know this fight was made. I had no idea Maurice Hooker was on the card. I had no idea who he was fighting until I got to my destination where I watched the fucking fight at. And when I saw that,
I think Perez even took this fight on notice, if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on, fam. When I got to the house, I told everybody in the crib, when that shit came up on the screen, I said, yo, this nigga might beat Maurice Hooker. Now, I'm in Dallas. So everybody knows that. Maurice Hooker's from Dallas, so everybody in the house knew who Maurice Hooker was. I was like, yo, this nigga might beat Maurice Hooker, fam. This dude is a fucking contender. He's not a journeyman. This is like a Marco Antonio Parabin type nigga at 168. He could beat a lot of the top guys. Oh, nigga, no, Maurice nice, dog. Maurice nice. What do we see?
That nigga far from nice, man. That nigga far from nice.
Yeah. He talked a good one at the weigh-in. He wanted to dedicate it to Aaron Pryor and get a knockout. Nothing in his arsenal on that night was indicative. Nothing was indicative of Aaron Hawk. You know what I'm saying? Nothing of the Hawk. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see any pressure. I didn't see him popping his jab out there, staying active. Like, he could have made this fight a whole lot easier on himself just using his height and his intangibles as far as his reach. He completely gave that up against Perez. You know, Perez was able to get in.
He looked like he was looking to land one big shot. That's what he looked like he was looking to do. He looked like he was looking to land one big shot.
Good point. Very good point.
And then, I don't know if it was Kellerman, that last thing, they tried to compare him to Thomas Hearn. I was like, man, shut that shit up. Like, early in the fight, I guess because he's tall and rangy, I was like, yeah, man, this shit is horrible.
Hey, didn't Menard have it a draw?
Hey, 2K. I'm still offended by that draw, my dude. I'm still offended by that draw.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Hey, I'm standing by my draw.
Explain it.
There at the fight, I called it a draw because I called it a draw. I mean, I did try to look at the window. Huh?
Go ahead and explain why you had it a draw. I'm curious.
No, I mean, basically, let me pull the scorecard up real quick. I had Hooker starting off strong in the first 2 rounds. Perez coming back. Then it was 2 more rounds for Hooker. Then it went back and forth. Then ended up being Perez getting the last 2 rounds, which ended up being a draw. I mean, people didn't like the decision. People didn't like the decision, and they did feel that Perez should have won that fight. But there was a couple people that called it a draw as well too. So I could see it going both ways. But I was trying to go catch the video when I came back home to watch that fight. To end up taking it offline. So I wanted to look at it again, but I had to just stick with my draw, man. I'm gonna stick with my draw.
That's what's up.
All right, so we gonna move it on to the motherfucking main event. The controversy. The controversy. You know, we had the unanimous decision, 114-113 across the board. Andre Ward defeating Sergey Kovalev to become the new kingpin at 175. Outside of the so-called what do they call him? The lineal champ. He's still the lineal champ, technically, Adonis. But you know, whatever. You know, with Adonis.
Hey man, hey, why you want to bring our calling views down? Don't mention that nigga's name.
Hey, I like Adonis, man. I don't know. I'm probably one of the few on this panel that like Adonis. So, you know what I'm saying? I like Adonis. He didn't took some easy roads, man. But I think I like Adonis, man. I don't know what it is. I just like Adonis. I always support my Caribbean brethren in this sport, man. So big up to Adonis Stevenson. You gonna get in there with Alvarez finally, so we can give you some kind of credibility with that fight. But I'm gonna need you to see you up in your game consistently. After that, I can't keep defending you, Adonis. I can't keep doing it. You know, you got my neck. You got my neck on the line out here. So, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's go ahead into this controversial award decision. I'm going to start it off with our breakdown analyst himself, man. You know what I'm saying? This is what you do. This is why we got you on. You on the money with this shit. to me, I'm going to say it was a tale of two different fights, and that's what the decision came down to. This is just me looking. I didn't score the fight live. As I told a lot of people, I kind of go off of gut feelings. I don't like doing the whole scoring thing when I'm at fights live. I kind of like just to do a filling out process. So, that was my thing there. It was a tale of two different fights if you're just going off of feeling and looking. This is how I was live. Let's go ahead and kick it to 2K. What you got, man?
Well, I'm trying not to spend too much time on it, man, but I got to get everything in, man. As you just said, the breakdown king, Mr. Breakdown Analysis. Now, I broke this shit down round by fucking round as I watched it live, okay? There was about 8 or 9 of us in this house. And for all you dumbass racists out there, because this shit has turned into a race war on YouTube, as I knew it would, right? The house was mixed. It wasn't just black people in the house. All different races in the house, okay? I'm standing like literally 2 feet away from the TV because I'm analyzing everything I fucking see, okay? At the end of the fight, I had it exactly the same way the judges had it. 114, 113, Andre Ward. Now, in the 11th round, after the 11th round ended, I had it a draw, 104 to 104. I told everybody in the house, I said, yo, whoever wins the 12th round wins the fight, okay? Andre Ward probably turned in his second or third best round in the 12th round and took the round.
And a lot of people didn't give him credit for that 12th round. I've seen some actually score that in favor of Kovalev. I'm not sure how. That I was surprised by that one.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Menard?
Cut you off on this one, but because I was at the fight, I gave Kovalev the 12th round, but and I also had 114, 113 Ward as well. But 2K, you can finish it. I'll come back probably after you.
Well, this is what I saw. Of course, in the beginning of the fight, from like the first 5 rounds, Sergey Kovalev was dominant. I gave Ward 1 round out of the first 5 rounds. This is, of course, my initial scorecard. I gave Andre Ward the 4th round. That was one of his best rounds of the fight. His very best round of the fight was round 9. But before we got to round 9, round 4 was his best round of the fight. Okay? Of course, he got knocked down in the 2nd round, and then in the 5th round, Kovalev took that round. So, at 5 rounds, Ward only won 1 round, and he was knocked down in the 2nd round, okay? But from round 6 all the way to round 9, Ward turned the fucking tide with his jab for 1. Okay, his jab was landing over Kovalev's, right? 2, the goddamn left hook was landing, okay? 3, the uppercut on the inside was landing. And 4, the beautiful, beautiful right hook to the fucking body was killing Kovalev, and it actually sapped his stamina, and he started to fade in these rounds. Now, a lot of people are like, yo, the jab. Go back and watch the fight and look at those fucking rounds from round 6 to 9 and tell me everything that Kovalev did. All he had was the jab. I will admit, Andre Ward was getting killed by the jab, okay? And actually, my man Seth, shout out to my man Seth, he called this shit before the fight. He said, yo, I'm a little worried because Andre Ward is susceptible to the jab. We both agreed that Sergey Kovalev's right hand wouldn't be a factor, even though it was like an open palm punch that knocked him down. It wasn't even a flush straight right hand that knocked Ward down. But he never landed the right hand consistently ever again in the fight. I think he landed 1 straight right hand again later on.
No, Ward completely took that right hand away from him. Sergey was a one-handed fighter that second half of the fight. I think that was missed by a lot of people scoring the fight.
No, that shit wasn't missed. Motherfuckers.
Not by us. I'm talking not by us. I'm saying by others.
I know.
We're on a different level, 2K.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
That was missed.
I'm saying by others, it's not missed because they're saying, the motherfuckers that I'm talking to, they're saying, nah, Kovalev was hurt. They're actually taking what Kathy Dupa said after the fight as a reason for why Kovalev was not throwing his fucking right hand. That's what I'm hearing. The one thing that people say the reason why Kovalev wins this fight is because, one, the jab, and two, he was the aggressor. That's all I'm hearing. Well, he's only landing the jab, but Ward is landing all these punches that I just fucking – I mean, it's easy to look at this. You got one jab coming, and then you got about 4 other punches from his opponent that are landing flush in each and every one of those rounds that I said he won. So it's not hard to see that just because you're the aggressor, if you're still getting hit while you're the aggressor, you can't win the round. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you throw more punches.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that was one of the things I saw with the first round. You know, a lot of people gave Kovalev that first round because of the aggression factor. And, you know, me looking at it, I'm looking at Ward was his jab to the body landed. You know, he was landing what he threw. Kovalev was just throwing aggressive shots and not really, you know, he staggered him with the one jab, and people went off of that and said, okay, he won the round.
He won the round,
because he staggered him with the jab. But I'm looking at round one. I see Andrzej Ward jabbing to the body effectively. You know, he caught him on the inside a couple times. Like, I thought Ward won the first round. I'm probably in the minority on this one. So round one. I'm going to get to you in a second, Menard, but you know what I'm saying? I'm going to let TK finish, but I'm going to just do that contrast because I'm like, just on the round one. I just wanted to get his breakdown on that round one. Can you see it going either way as far as scoring that round, Kovalev or Ward?
Yeah, round 1 and round 10, in my opinion, man. Like, round 10, I gave it to Kovalev, but after that round, I was like, fuck. I stood there for a second and was like, I don't know who I should give it to. You know what I'm saying? And just based on the ring generalship that I felt Kovalev had in that round, he took it. Now, round 1, kind of the same thing. In round 1, I understand what you're saying, but I saw Andrzej Ward doing a little bit more filling out of Kovalev, whereas Kovalev already knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to throw that jab, and he wanted to set up that straight right hand. He wanted to make sure that Andrzej Ward couldn't do that dip and crawl move and get on the inside of him, so he kept the jab in his face the whole round. And then at the end of the round, it actually staggered him. So that's why I gave him that round. Just, again, ring generalship. But at the same time, this is why I gave Andrzej Ward the fight, because the majority of these fucking fights, especially in the second half, Andrzej Ward showed masterclass ring generalship, mixing up his punches, landing at will, sapping the bigger man's stamina, fading him down the stretch. I mean, what the fuck else do you need to do to win a fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, he had to knock this nigga out. But this is the thing, though. I see a lot of people score for Kovalev initially. And then they go back and watch it. They come back, they say, yo, I think the fight could have gone either way. Or I think Andrzej Ward actually won the fight. Motherfuckers that are crying robbery don't know shit about boxing. This is fucked up. There is no way you could cry robbery with this one. It wasn't one of those kind of fights like we've seen robberies in boxing. This wasn't one of them. Like you know, I said before entering. There's a robbery right before the fight. So it's like, come on, dog. Y'all just seen what a robbery really looks like if you actually cared enough about the sport to watch that fight, and then you cry robbery in this fight where honestly this fight can go either way. It can go either way. It was that, and like, you know, I said entering this was a tale of two different fights. It started off one way, you could see it, but the second half of the fight, if you saw it any other way but Ward fucking outclassing him and taking Kovalev's tools away, you've seen Kovalev hesitant and finicky on offense to where he was pulling his punches. Now, if you are not looking at this as, you know, objectively as a fan of boxing and seeing this from Kovalev, like we've seen him against Chilemba. He didn't look good in that fight, but he didn't pull his punches. He didn't pull his punches the way we've seen in this fight. He was pulling his punches. He had what Ward had him in his thoughts, and you know that was something that I took notice of, and I was like, okay, Ward got him. You know, second half of the fight, this is what I was noticing. Let me kick it over to Menard as well. Round 5, I was saying. But wait a minute, I was like, that got him. but wait though, 2K. What you said when you said people saw a robbery in the fight before this Andrzej Ward fight,
and didn't say nothing, that's because it's not that they don't know shit about boxing. They don't give a shit about that being a fucking robbery because they don't really know who those two dudes was.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why they don't look at that as being a robbery.
Good point,
they don't give a shit. Like they don't give a shit about the the guys that they don't know about. Like a lot of these people who call themselves so-called casual fans only care about the names that they see on TV, ESPN, and all that shit. But the people that they don't see getting pushed, they don't give a shit about them being robbed because we see this all the time and talk about it.
Yep.
Good point, Bo. I'm going to let you go ahead and give your analysis of the fight before I kick it off to your partner because we just going to do a little kickoff on the swing rounds as well. So go ahead, Bo. Finish off your analysis. What did you see in this fight as far as who did you have the winner? Anything you just think we should take note of in the fight that you think might be being missed by the extreme?
Well, let me say this. 2K, there's really, you can always add something, but there's really not much you can add to what he said, but you can always add something. You can add the fact that, in my opinion, I felt like those who scored this fight for Kovalev, 116-111, to me, I felt like Andre Ward is a victim of his own success. And what I mean by that is, if you're used to seeing him be dominant, if you're used to seeing him not having trouble with the guy, and he has trouble, some of them felt like, well, because he's having trouble, he must have lost, he must not have lost this, he must not have won this round, okay?
Good point.
And so to a certain degree, he's a victim of his own success. But what I want to point out is, this fight wasn't a controversy. HBO made it a fucking controversy when Jim Lampley sat there and said, quote, Andre Ward, American fighter, 3 American judges winning versus the outsider. Now people going to look at it. When he said that, he made it a fucking controversy, okay? I watched this fight with the commentary. In the 9th round, Max Kellerman said this. He said, Andre Ward is showing us his championship heart and pedigree and have made this an even fight. In the 12th round, they all said whoever wins the most moments could possibly be the winner. Then when the winner was announced, it's a fucking controversy? Are you kidding me? So this fight only became a cut because people that was complaining about the fucking judges. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Both motherfucking camps knew who the judges was. How come Cappy Doo didn't have shit to say about the judges when she saw the names on the list? Okay? She knew who the judges were. When people talk to me about, it was in America with American judges, that didn't mean shit when you fought that squirrel in Canada. It didn't mean shit when you fought Bernard Hopkins. That shit, y'all don't give a fuck about that shit when you fought them. All right? And what I really hate is, by making it a controversy, you took away from the greatness of the fight we saw and what we saw from Andre Ward. Now, I give Kovalev all the credit in the world because I am the one on our show that picked Ward because I didn't know how Kovalev would mentally act if it wasn't going his way. And he did show up. But I give Ward a lot of credit because when he got up in that 2nd round, he didn't go into survival mode like we've seen a lot of people go into when Kovalev put them down. Andre Ward didn't go into survival mode. He stayed the course of the game plan. And to your point about the corners, Virgil Hunter was in fucking Ward's ear from the moment he got up off that game. He said, look at me. Fucking look at me. He was in his ear. He looked at me. Then you look over at John David Jackson, and I said, well, David Jackson wasn't really in Kovalev's ear like he should have been.
Yeah, John David Jackson folded in both of his fights that night, man. He wasn't active in the corner at all. I told you the most action I seen from him was chewing that goddamn double mint.
Juan, check this out, though. Check this out. One day my co-host said a while ago, he said, I really don't feel like John David Jackson actually trained Kovalev. He was like, they don't have the typical boxer-trainer relationship. Like, you watch how they talk to each other. Kovalev even said himself, hey, I just pretty much go in there and do what the fuck I want to do. John David Jackson said the same thing. Hey, I tell Kovalev some pointers and shit about his opponent, but ultimately he goes in the fight and does what he wants to do. When a trainer says that tells you right then and there that he's not actually training his fighter. So when Kovalev was in what you call the heat of the moment, that's why you guys saw what you saw, because John David Jackson didn't know what to tell this motherfucker because he don't train this nigga. That's
why that's one of the things that was said even in the Chilemba fight, that John David Jackson was only there for like 2 weeks in Russia. Like Kovalev was training, John David Jackson only came in for like the last 2 weeks in Russia. So this is something that's been out there about their whole training relationship for a bit.
But wait, I'll take it a step further, guys. I'll take it a step further. I question if Kovalev even have respect for John David Jackson, because as a fighter, when you have a trainer, you listen to your trainer because you know you have to trust your trainer, you have to respect what your trainer teach you and what he sees. So if you're telling me you're not listening to your trainer, you do what you want to do, I question if you have respect for the dude. Because how can you tell me as a fighter you're not listening to the dude that's supposed to be helping you to win? That's supposed to tell you what he sees that you're not doing right or the other guy isn't doing right that'll work for you. So I question the respect level of between him and John David Jackson. But also, let's keep this in mind too. Andre Ward, okay, because people want to talk about the holding and the clinching, and I like what the referee said. If one guy got another guy in the headlock, who do you think is holding? And so, but Andre Ward had a game. He was able to make his adjustments. We saw that. When he started going to the body, he started making Kovalev tired. And true to form, I think it was Breadman that told us about Kovalev's balance. Did y'all see the 11th round when Kovalev just kind of collapsed on the ground when Ward went into him? Yeah. And you can tell then he was tired. He was tired. Now, I give him credit for gutting it out, but on those body shots was killing him. And for people to say, and for people to talk about the body shots, here's the thing. They were visible, and you could hear them. They wasn't body shots that you didn't know that was happening. You heard those shots.
Okay.
Yes. You heard them shots, man. So, I mean, just because a guy gets knocked down don't mean he's lost the fight. We saw Marquez get knocked down 3 fucking times and still came within the draw, but Ward get knocked down once, and you telling me he lose?
Yo, Sam, that's exactly the fucking what I use to everybody. I say, yo, look at Marquez Pacquiao, and look what Marquez did from round 2 to round fucking 12. That's exactly what Ward did from round 5 to round fucking 12 minus round 10, B. Same shit. Same shit.
And the HBO commentary. And the HBO commentary was true to form. When they was true to form, they talk shit about this fight. Oh, but the following week when he was one of their goddamn fighters, they didn't have none of that bullshit going on. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, again, Andre Ward won the fight. Whether we like it or not, Andre Ward won the fight. And for motherfuckers that like to tell me, and I had this argument with a person, and I hope he's fucking listening, for motherfuckers that tell me that you're supposed to prove you beat the champion, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I told him. If you follow the history of boxing, in big fight with big names, that shit is never fucking applied. You have to prove that you beat the other dude. Ali and Ken fucking Norton, okay? In big fights with big fights names, if that shit has never fucking applied in the history of goddamn boxing. You just got to prove you won the goddamn fight. Learn the fucking sport, y'all.
All right, let me go ahead and pass it over to your partner in crime, Menard, so he could do his swing round breakdown, because I know he has some interesting analysis on what he thought factored into the fight's decision. So go ahead and swing that on what you had as far as the swing rounds, Menard.
Let me pull it up. The swing rounds I had was the 5th round, the 7th round, and the 8th round. Those were the 3 swing rounds that could have gone either way for both fighters, but of course I gave them to Ward. During that fight, you said you gave Ward the first round, right?
Yeah.
Who else gave Ward the first round?
I don't think too many people did. I'm probably the minority there. Like I said, Ward didn't lose all the first 6 rounds. So you have to factor that in there. I gave him the 1st and the 5th like you did as well. So go ahead, continue, Bernard.
No, okay, then. Look, I said I gave Kovalev the first 3 rounds. When you came down to the 4th round, that's when, like again, 2K said, that's when the change of the guard, that's when everything started to change. The 4th, the 5th, the 6th, all the way up to the 10th. The 10th, Kovalev came back. But Bo pretty much took some of my points with the whole body shot. It was the body work that really changed everything up in that fight. You can't sit there and tell me Kovalev was the aggressor when the whole time during the whole fight he
was initiating the clinch. Initiating the clinch. Yes.
That's not aggression. And you're trying to literally choke Ward out so he won't go inside. But Ward kept sticking to the plan because he kept. Okay, if you looked at the 9th round, I don't think anybody. I think maybe 2K picked this up. Did you see how Kovalev was shaking his arms out?
Absolutely.
Like it was shaking. Like he didn't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's what I was saying when I said Kovalev was hesitant on offense. Like he was pulling punches. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at boxing scene, they said his output was down. You know what I'm saying? His output was down.
Well, that was obvious watching the fight.
He was hesitant in it. Yeah, that was Andrzej making him hesitant on everything he threw. This is me looking at the fight second half. Kovalev was hesitant to throw anything. You know what I'm saying? Except for that jab. Jab was confident in.
He had the only thing I actually seen him throw a body shot. It was one of those punches that he actually hit, and Ward took a step back. I want to say that was in like the 6th or 7th round. But let me tell you this: when Ward was working on that body, he worked on the left side of Kovalev. He kept throwing that right hook.
That right hook.
That right hook. And if anybody, I know 2K, you noticed this. Did you see Kovalev's arm was up and by the end of the fight? That
shit was down.
Yep. And it was full blow. Ward could have landed his right up to the head if he wanted to. But he really, if anything, there was one part of the fight in the later rounds. Ward came up, threw a hook, hit him with a hook, came back and hit him with a jab. So I mean to sit there and tell you that at the end of the fight, I had 2 scorecards. I had it 114, 113 Ward. Came back and came back home, looked at the fight again, and it was the 12th round that I think pretty much changed everything for me, and I gave it 115, 112 Ward. I want to shout out to the idiot. Yeah, I want to shout out to the casual fan that said the 10th round he gave to Kovalev. It was a 10-7 round. But I'm still trying to figure out what the hell.
Man, what the hell what kind of group you in, man?
I miss the fuckery. I'm going to bring all the fuckery the casuals be bringing to y'all and all the fuckery in boxing. This dude really said that it was a 10-7 round. I'm trying to figure out where there was the knockdowns at. But then how can you measure a 10-7 round where Kovalev only threw 5 more punches than Ward? But his percentage was low because his percentage was much lower because he threw more punches, but he missed more. So please, somebody tell me where did Ward get knocked down in the 10th round to get score 7? Man, it wasn't no robbery. Motherfucker just mad that Ward won the fight. Plain and simple. But I got
give a shout out to Larry. Give a shout out to Harold Letterman for scoring the 9th round for Ward up in Kovalev also. Give Harold Letterman a shout out for that.
I mean,
he got a 10th round to Kovalev. The 9th round.
Shout out to Jim Lampley for saying Kovalev threw that right hand and hit Ward. But when you saw the replay, that punch didn't even touch Ward.
Didn't even go nowhere near him. I want to shout out again. I know I did it earlier, but I really got to do it right now. Shout out again, Sky Sports. British fans, they know they fucking boxing. I watched the Sky Sports telecast after watching bullshit HBO. Motherfuckers saw the fight totally different. They saw it the way they should have seen the shit. Okay? A lot of them cats over there, they had Ward winning by 2 points. You know what I'm saying? 1 point. There was no robbery. They even expressed that shit. Paulie Maldonado did a great job commentating. Shout out to Sky Sports, man. They number 1 right now, fam. They better than all your.
I want to say something else too. I want to shout out Paulie for calling the knockdown for what it was. It wasn't a tactical mistake on Ward's part. Kovalev was coming in with his jab. Ward was coming in with his jab. Ward kept his hand down. And he didn't know Kovalev was going to come with 1-2. The 1-2 knocked down Ward. The two knocked down Ward. It pretty much was a flash knockdown. Even Virgil Hunter said it himself. Ward kept his hand down, but it wasn't really a tactical mistake. It happens in boxing. It just happened that this punch happened to knock him down. But he got in his hand. He told him to stick to the game plan.
I will say this, though, man. Kovalev in this fight, because we're saying he lost the fight, but I will say this. Kovalev is much smarter than I thought he was initially. I mean, he did some smart, like in that knockdown, he actually timed the shit out of
he came back,
and came over the top with his right hand.
Yeah,
now, the right hand, like
that was
I said
him
earlier,
following up. That was him following up.
Right. It didn't land flush. He hit him with an open palm. But if it would have landed flush, who knows what could have happened. But he also did something else smart. Whenever he realized, Ward was doing the move that I told everybody that he needed to do to win, dip, crawl, jab to the body, then come up top with the left hook. He would try to do that move. Kovalev would step back and jab downward. And the reason why he jabbed downward is so Ward would run right into the jab. Very beautiful IQ for Sergey Kovalev. And a little off topic, I said Kovalev would beat Adonis Stevenson before this fight. Now, after looking at his IQ in this fight, he killed Adonis Stevenson. I know Twine don't like that shit.
But also, you know what though? Give Kovalev a lot of credit also, because the first half of the fight, the reason why he was doing good in the first half of the fight was he was punching with he was jabbing with Andrzej Ward. He was punching with him. He stopped doing it in the second half. Nigga, mute your fucking phone while you die. Shit. Don't want to hear you over there dying. Mute your goddamn phone when you gonna die.
Don't down.
Kovalev was punching with Andrzej Ward in the beginning of the fight, and that's why he was having success. But he didn't do it in the second half of the fight.
No, he didn't. Yep, exactly.
The body shot came into effect.
Ward dictated the pace easily. It's easy to see that shit. Yes, he was on his back foot because Kovalev was the aggressor, but at the same time, he was landing more. He was more accurate. He was more accurate with the shots that he was throwing.
His aggression wasn't effective. His aggression wasn't effective. But let's call it for what it was. It was a chess match. Two good boxers went in that ring and gave us, the purists, what we like to see, a great match. And Ward came out the victor, man. The fight could have gone either way, but I saw it as Ward. We saw it as Ward, and it is what it is.
Rematch going to be much worse than that. Because you can't give a guy with Andrzej Ward.
Well, that's another thing we could speak on. Will there be a rematch? Ward, this was his last fight under 8. That's something else we need to bring up, fellas. Will there be a rematch?
You cannot give a guy like Andrzej Ward a rematch with his IQ. You can't do it. No, I'm not.
Will there be a rematch though? This was Ward's last fight under HBO. There's some other things at hand that need to be handled. Will we see a rematch of this fight? I'm thinking right now, no. Even though there's a rematch clause.
Yeah, a rematch clause.
But y'all need to kind of take this into account. That was Ward's last fight with HBO.
That's what I was saying. That was his last fight under HBO. So if he goes go ahead, Menard.
Now, conspiracy theorists will probably sit there and say, HBO had him, made sure he won the belt, and then they screamed out robbery so they can make sure Ward sides with HBO again and give Kovalev the rematch, and possibly, if it goes back down to another decision, Kovalev gets the belt. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, that's a theory we could people want to throw out there, but if I was Ward, I would go with Showtime and try to get that green belt that Stevenson is babysitting over there.
No, if I'm Andrzej Ward, I give HBO the motherfucking finger. I give them the finger. Real talk. I give them the finger because one thing about that fight that I did notice was, and maybe it was me, it seemed like it did take Ward a minute to adjust to the weight during that fight. For some reason, he didn't seem like you could clearly tell Kovalev was the bigger man. I going back to what Donnell Boone said in the interview that you guys had, and shout out to him for that. He said that maybe Ward needed another fight or a fight with a bigger guy of that caliber to deal before facing Kovalev. And it did seem like maybe, just maybe, Ward needed it took him a minute to adjust to that weight and everything that was going on during that fight. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Ward was looking like the light skinned nigga. You know what I'm saying? Early on, you know what I'm saying? Face was all red and nose and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think
Kovalev was beating the blackout out of him. You know what I'm saying?
It was the jab, man. It was the jab and the IQ. Like he just like I said before the fight. I think Virgil Hunter and Andre Ward thought the same. They didn't think Sergey Kovalev, based on his last fights. I mean, look at, Cedric Agnew, Blake Caparello, even Bernard Hopkins. He scared Bernard Hopkins and made Bernard Hopkins gun shy. That's how he dominated that fight. Isaac Falemba. I mean, he did not show the type of IQ in those fights that he showed against Andre Ward. And that fucking jab is probably one of the best jabs in boxing. That after this one fight, it has literally become possibly one of the best fucking jabs in boxing. I'm talking like fucking Larry Holmes, a piston type jab with a lot of power behind it.
Menard said his jab was like as strong as his right hand. That's something that Menard was saying. Yeah.
Well, we said that months before the fight, and that's what me and Seth were talking about. Like, it's not the right hand that Ward would have had to worry about. It's the jab. We said that months before the fight. But we didn't know that Kovalev throw it in the right places at the right time. And I don't think Virgil Hunter and Andre Ward knew that as well. That's what was fucking Ward up. Wasn't the weight to me. It's the IQ.
Okay. I mean, that could be it. I mean, you could be right there, but I just listen. Will there be a rematch? I hope so. But if there's be a rematch, I don't want him to have that rematch on HBO's grounds. I really don't. I want him to give him the finger because, like I said, they the ones that caused the controversy. They the ones that made you think that fucking Andre Ward was shocked that his name was called and and all that. I don't want him. I would give fucking HBO the motherfucking finger and try to have it over at Showtime or independently or whatever the case may be. I do want to say that to a certain degree, I felt that. And it could be me. This fight could have been promoted a lot better than what than what it was. I mean, they had no 24/7. They had this little my fight thing, which was cool, but they had no 24/7. Like this fight didn't really start getting promoted until a few weeks before the fight when they started really pushing it, and they should have been pushing this a while ago. So it was poorly promoted. Like you said, the commentary was completely atrocious toward the end, especially when the end of the fight came, and they called the controversy. And then I agree with Menard. Going back to what Virgil Hunter said, he felt like HBO made Andre Ward move up to 175 to fight.
They set him up for failure. They wanted him to lose.
Yeah, they set him up for failure. So, I mean, a rematch has to happen. And I agree with you. You can't. And Andre Ward even said it. Listen, now he knows what to expect. I don't see Kovalev getting any better. I don't think we saw the best Andre Ward either. So I don't see Kovalev getting any better. I don't think we saw the best Andre Ward. And like you said, now that Andre Ward knows what he's looking at and what he's seeing, I guarantee you it won't be no knockdown because after he got knocked down in the second round, Kovalev never came close to being able to knock him down again after that. Yeah. He never even came close to it because of the adjustments Andre Ward made. So I just, I mean, should there be a rematch? Of course, there has to be one. But for anybody that wants to scream robbery, for anybody that wants to shine hate and all that towards Andre Ward way, the boy does one thing and does one thing well. He wins. People were saying that and we know this personally, people were saying how he probably didn't want to fight, wouldn't show up, was going to get injured. Well, didn't happen. The shit didn't happen. Okay, the shit didn't happen. He showed up and he was there. So, yeah, you got to have a rematch because it was close. But I think in a rematch, I think in a rematch we'll probably see the real, the real Andre Ward now that he knows what he's looking at, and it could, it'll be a different outcome.
Yeah, you gotta look at it like Floyd Mayweather in his rematches. He always made it look easier the second time around, And I think this is what it will look like with Ward and Kovalev. Ward knows what he's looking at. Kovalev's not going to make the adjustments with John David Jackson in one camp. It's just too much. Too much. The way he was flustered in the second half of that fight, I just don't see it changing in one camp. So,
well, he may come into the fight thinking he got to knock Ward out and be over aggressive.
Yeah.
The question is, y'all think Kovalev can make adjustments in the training camps to get ready for Ward?
No.
I definitely don't.
I don't.
No.
I don't.
Y'all think he gonna fire Uncle Ruckus?
No. He'll keep it.
He'll stick with him. But on another note, let's go ahead and go on to some other topics, man. We got a lot to talk about. We've been on this one for a minute, but let's move on. We had ex-heavyweight, Alex Stewart passing away over the past week. So you want to say rest in peace to him, give him a shout out on the show. He fought a lot of guys in the heavyweight division, Oleg Maskiev, Vander Holyfield, George Foreman. He fought a lot of guys in the heavyweight division. So, rest in peace, Alex Stewart. Big up. Let's move on to our next topic. We got some pretty interesting stuff going on in the heavyweight division. Again, Lucas Browne failed the drug test for the second time. And, the state of his fight with Shannon Briggs for the regular WBA heavyweight championship is in limbo. Let me go ahead and start off with Bogart on this one. What you think of this, and have you heard anything recently? I know you be on top of a lot of these things. What's the status of this fight as far as Lucas Browne and Shannon Briggs? Is it off? What's going to happen with that? Go ahead, man.
The WBA is convening to figure out what they're going to do. As far as trying to salvage some kind of fight for this goddamn unnecessary fucking Texas Roadhouse stampede across the pond fucking belt that they got. So they're going to convene to figure out what to do going forward. The problem is that although it's for a WBA title, now remember, because people are trying to revert to the drug testing program, well, that program is only under the WBC. It's under the WBC guidelines. It's not the same guidelines that you have under the WBA. So who knows what they're going to do or what they're going to decide. Me personally, since it's been 2 failed drug tests, because remember, he was suspended once before. So should there be a ban to a certain degree? I feel like, yeah, he should. And people may disagree with me, but I definitely feel like, yeah, he should. Like you said, this isn't, back-to-back drug test failings. He fell back-to-back in title fights right after winning them. So there's definitely a problem there. Lucas just thinking he can get away with something. They are not, I tell you one thing they're not doing, they're not looking at other options as far as we would like to think they'd be looking at, which is Luis Ortiz. Nope, they're not looking that way. They don't, for some odd reason, they don't particularly care about that. They may move Ustanev up to face Shannon Briggs.
You mentioned Ortiz for a reason, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you did.
Well. Somebody. I don't know who did this. Somebody said something earlier on our page, the movement. Somebody said something earlier about me putting too much Cuban shit on the page. Who was that? Oh, that was that light-skinned nigga 2K. That's who it was. But anyway, they're not going to look toward Luis Ortiz. They may look at Ustanev since he's fighting for the interim, trying to get the fight for the interim championship. They may look toward him to fight Shannon Briggs until they figure out what to do with Lucas Browne. But this is look. We talked about this, and Twan, you said all this is a jacked up situation with the WBA from Jump Street. They shouldn't be having these many belts floating out there, floating around. They should have one fucking champion. It shouldn't be no regular, super, intercontinental, interim. It shouldn't be none of that shit. They should have one fucking belt floating out there, floating around. And how, like, the WBA is really starting to turn into a joke. Because how can you have the number 5 and number 7 dude fighting for your fucking belt and not the number 1 and number 2 guy? So it's really starting to turn into a joke, but let's give credit where credit is due. It was, and people hate, I know people hate to hear this, but it was Floyd Mayweather that introduced this drug program into boxing, and now we're seeing a lot of motherfuckers that's testing positive. Now, some of it isn't positive testing for, like, because somebody mentioned the Severin situation. I said that's different. That particular drug is harmful to the user, and it's a dietary supplement. There's a difference between a dietary supplement that's harmful to you health-wise versus a performance enhancer to give you an advantage. So please learn the difference between the two. But, yeah, this is turning into a joke with the WBA. They are, I'm thinking that, I'm thinking they're hoping that this don't pick up a lot of traction so they can figure out what to do if they want to justify going forward with the fight. Because it definitely seems like they kind of want this fight between these two dudes for whatever reason. I have no clue as to why. But they're not giving my man Luis Ortiz a shot. I'm going to say that one more time just in case I didn't say it.
Well, shit, he ain't in there no more, man. He don't need no shots. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. Is he still considered number 1 contender? Is he still considered one of the top heavyweights? Who would you rather see fight? Is it Luis?
I don't know what he is, man.
No, wait a minute, nigga.
I don't know what he is,
Wait a minute, nigga. I'm fucking talking. Okay? Is Luis Ortiz not better than fucking Briggs? Or motherfucking, shit. Is Luis Ortiz not better than goddamn Briggs? Is Luis Ortiz not better than fucking Browne? Is he not better than dudes right now?
Hey, man, if they felt that way, they wouldn't have stripped him. They wouldn't have stripped him if they felt that way.
They stripped him because Oosterman did not want to condone to a drug test during after they won the purse bid. Oosterman didn't want to do a drug testing program with them. So he pulled out of the fight.
I can end all the bullshit right now. Luis Ortiz is still the number 1 contender. He deserves the shot. Case in point. Doesn't need a fucking interim belt. He's the fucking number 1 contender.
I'm just like, why they strip him for it and keep him number 1? That don't make no sense. And they give him this other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? This intercontinental or whatever the shit they just gave him.
You don't have to be number 1 contender to have an interim belt. Plenty of times have I seen the interim title holder not be the number 1 contender. I've seen that so many times. That just made him double the mandatory. That's all the fuck that did. But he was always the number 1 contender right after he beat that fucking Argentinian guy. He became the number 1 contender of the WBA. And at the same time, it just so happened he picked up the interim title. He should have gotten his shot right after he beat the fuck out of Brian Jennings the way he did. He should have never fought no goddamn Tony the motherfucking Tiger, and he shouldn't have fought no faggot-ass Malik Scott. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. He should have got his shot.
He got another fight coming up in like a week or so, too.
Yeah,
so Eddie Hearn.
Dillian White already knocked out.
David Allen? Yeah, David Allen, really?
He beat him. He beat him.
That's your boy. That's your boy, though. But big up to Eddie Hearn. He keeping him busy at least. You know what I'm saying? He got him in there again something.
He needs to
it's some bullshit, but
they should have given him a shot before this. And now that he popped hot for a second time, they definitely need to give him a shot. I mean, there's nobody else to fucking look at.
I don't see it happening just because it looks like Eddie Hearn is looking for a super matchup between Ortiz and Anthony Joshua in 2017. So I'm thinking they're going to put this on the back burner as far as him going after the regular. But we'll see. They definitely got to do better than this upcoming shit he got coming up in December, just to keep him active and busy. Because it's starting to look like a joke. You know, we need to see Ortiz in there against somebody.
Started to look like a joke.
Yeah, man, it's terrible, man.
That said, we're gonna swing it into our next topic. It's looking like Andrzej Fonfara and Chad Dawson is a possible fight at light heavyweight on the Badou Jack versus James Degale fight card coming up in January in Brooklyn. Let me get you guys' initial thoughts on this fight. I'm gonna start off with Big Cool.
I mean, it's an intriguing fight. It's definitely a true crossroads fight, especially for Chad Dawson, who hasn't been himself since he was knocked out brutally by Adonis Stevenson a few years ago in the first round. I don't know how much he has left, but if he has anything left, it should at least be a competitive fight. I'm not confident enough to say, you know, he will win this fight against Fonfara, who is a much fresher guy, a little younger, but he also is coming off a brutal knockout loss to Joe Smith Jr. So it's definitely an intriguing fight. We all know that Chad comes to fight each and every time. So it will be entertaining, you know, even if it's not competitive. But if it's made, I'll lean toward Fonfara by stoppage. I mean, I just think that, like I said, he's stronger, fresher, a little younger, not as talented, but Chad Dawson's got a lot of knowledge on his body, been in some brutal rewards, and like I said, that Stevenson knockout took a lot out of him, and just don't know where he's at mentally. But hopefully both guys come in well prepared to give a good fight if this fight is made. So, you know, it's a good fight.
Yeah, and just a little side note, this will be Fonfara's first fight under Virgil Hunter. So he's been with Virgil Hunter since his lost what's his name, Joe something. Joe Smith.
Joe Smith Jr. Yep.
Yeah, so since his loss to Joe Smith Jr., he switched camps to Virgil Hunter. So this will be his first fight under Virgil Hunter. Let me go ahead and swing it over to Bo. What you think on this potential fight between Fonfara and
Chad Dawson.
Chad Dawson.
You know what? First off, you know what? Let me say this. I accept your apology for what you said about Luis Ortiz, by the way. But I agree with Big Cool. This is a crossroad fight between Chad Dawson and Fonfara. Fonfara lost to Joe Smith by knockout somewhere in America. He lost that fight. And he left Sam Colonna, went over to Virgil Hunter. Now, my biggest question is, does Fonfara have the talent and the skill to be trained under Virgil Hunter enough to where we'll see a difference in the way that he fights when he fights Chad Dawson?
I think
that's going to be the big. But that's the big question for me, because sometimes you need more than one training camp, especially with a guy like Virgil Hunter. Now, a guy like Virgil Hunter is an exceptional trainer, so sometimes one training camp with Virgil Hunter is all you need, especially if he's down there right now working on things. And then he's down there with Virgil Hunter. You got Andre Ward down there that he can also work with to help him out a little bit. And so it could help him. Chad Dawson, on the other hand, I'm just wondering, I mean, where is he mentally? Like, where is Chad Dawson mentally? And I think that's going to be a question that Chad Dawson's going to have to answer, that we're going to have to wait and see. Where is Chad Dawson mentally? Where is Chad Dawson mentally and physically also as well? So it's definitely a crossroad fight. I think whoever wins this fight, we'll start hearing their name being mentioned, you know, within the light heavyweight division. But it's going to be, my biggest concern is definitely going to be him switching over to Virgil Hunter is not bad, but does he have the skill in training camp to make the changes that Virgil Hunter is going to make? Because Fonfara has some major adjustments that he has to make. I don't know. I know we watched Fonfara fight, but I always had concerns about Fonfara fighting style. I always thought that, you know, he's a pressure fighter, but he needs to employ more boxing moves to his pressure fighting. You know, sometimes he puts his head on his chest and he's looking down instead of trying to see where the punches are coming from. You know, so it's a good move for him, but I'm wondering where both of these dudes are right now mentally in their careers and physically.
Good point. That's a good point right there. Let me go ahead and pass it over to Menard as well. You've seen Fonfara live. Actually, you were at that Joe Smith fight, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
No. Bernard wasn't at that fight. Bernard was not at that fight. But Bernard watched that fight like in Indiana or Wisconsin or someplace.
Yeah, okay. Same nigga that's talking Kid don't want to rep in Chicago. Shut your ass up. Now let a real king speak. Now I was at that fight and Joe Smith caught that motherfucker. I'm gonna call it plain and simple. But basically, I would like to see the fight. See how Fonfara fights on the verge of 100. I mean, y'all already went over the same points. I don't want to go over the same points again. But I really want to see where Chad Dawson's at. That's what I want to see it. This is a chance for him to redeem himself and bring himself back into the, I don't want to say the title contender, but be possibly a major contender if he beats Fonfara. And because let's look at it. I mean, who do you have in the heavyweight division other than Kovalev, the light heavyweight division, Kovalev, Ward, and Adonis?
Bearded Biggie.
Who?
Whatever his name is. Oh, other Russian dude that can punch.
Yeah, but he's 7 fights in or whatever. How many fights in as a pro?
He's 10-0, 10 knockouts.
10-0.
Arthur beat BS.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so okay, then you got Fonfara. Then that's it, right?
Yeah.
So okay, then I mean, come on. It's not really a deep division. I don't want to go ahead of ourselves, but I mean, I put it like this. Yeah, you got Cleverly over there holding that WBA belt. Okay, so I mean, it's kind of a division right now that I want to see where Chad Dawson goes at. You know what I'm saying? Can he bring himself back up there by beating Fonfara? And I mean, if Fonfara loses take a knockout again, I mean, will he be put on journeyman status? That's my question to y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Probably.
Yeah, that chin has been suspect. Adonis tapped it before, and he got touched by Joe Smith in his last fight. So that's something we'll be on the lookout for in the future, and see if Virgil Hunter can help him out on his defenses as far as not getting caught up in situations like that. It was kind of a different situation with Fonfara. I think he was going out because he actually had Smith hurt in that situation as well. So it's kind of like Smith just caught him with a good punch, in a flurry.
No, Smith wasn't hurt. He was just blocking his punches, and then he just countered with a right hook and caught him when he saw that jab was out a little bit too long.
Yeah, but Fonfara got a little overzealous and, got caught with something. But at the same time, we'll see what will happen with this change. We're going to go ahead and switch over to our next topic. Looks like Billy Joe Saunders. He has another postponement. Billy Ho. Another postponement in this fight. It's looking like it will be this weekend now, I'm guessing, December 3rd, for his fight, which was rescheduled for November, the end of November originally, after being postponed then. Let me go ahead and start off with 2K, man. I know you probably just gonna lay it in and go brief and just say what it is.
I mean, I ain't got nothing to say, man. Like, I told y'all niggas, Billy Joe Saunders spends the majority of his time making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, fam. I told y'all niggas, man. That's why this nigga's not fighting. Y'all think I'm fucking playing, man? I swear to God, I seen this nigga making a ham sandwich the other day, fam. I was like, Billy, I thought you were supposed to fight this cat in Brooklyn. He was like, nah, man, shit, I need to make this sandwich, man. A lot of sandwiches I gotta make. This motherfucker don't want to fight? He don't want to fight. Because if he did, this motherfucker would have been in the ring. This motherfucker, man. Somebody take this nigga's belt, please. Why is he got
I want to say shame on the WBO for letting this sham go on.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is shit that make
WBO
boxing look bad, man. This is shit that make boxing look bad when you got don't want to
the
fight.
WBO, shame on y'all for letting this sham go on for so long with Billy Ho.
Well, the WBO don't make mandatories, and that's the biggest problem right there. They don't have mandatories. That's the reason why, like Vargas could fight Pacquiao coming back and shit like that. They don't have mandatories.
Right, man. They need to put something in place for scary ass fighters though, or scary ass champions. I mean, like they
need to do that across the board. They need to do that shit across the board. Yeah. Stop that ducking shit, man. But as long as there's too much money to be made with, I mean, you got to think about it. There's a lot of money to be made with ducking. If you allow a fighter, if you're an organization, you're the head of an organization, you allow a fighter to duck a serious mandatory. For example, Danny Garcia ducking the shit out of Victor Postal, right? And then he goes on and makes money fighting Lamont Peterson. That's a win for your organization, even though it's supposed to be nonprofit. But we all know they make money under the table with these matchups. So, I mean, ducking gives a lot of people in boxing more money. That's why we'll never eliminate ducking. And that's why they will allow Billy Ho, a.k.a. the motherfucking peanut butter hand man, to duck whoever the fuck he wants to duck because they're trying to make money out of this dude. We called this shit a long time ago. We said as soon as this motherfucker, me and my boy Seth was like, my co-host, we was like, man, I had picked Billy Ho beating Andy Lee, but I hope to God Andy Lee won the fight, B. I was hoping he would win because I knew Billy Ho was going to hoard the fucking title. Me and Seth called that shit. And lo and behold, what did he fucking do? He's not even fighting prospects, B. He's not even fighting prospects. The WBL's like, hey, fight, here you go, bro, fight Ben Affleck. Somebody, man, we got to get you in the ring. This motherfucker calls the fight off. I can't stand this dude, man. He has been the number one guy. He used to be Adonis Stevenson. Now it's Billy Ho. I cannot stand this motherfucker in boxing. I can't stand this dude. And they need to take this nigga's belt, man. For real. They need to give it to somebody, not him.
And the guy that would be his mandatory challenger is actually somebody that is promoted by Luda Bella and Kurt Seedy. And he's anxious to get in there with a Gennady Golovkin.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's a little pit bull, man. So, Billy Ho definitely doesn't want that work with this guy right now. Dude is real hungry. I've seen a couple of his fights, and he's no joke. Although he's a little pit bull in there, man, and that's all I can say about his style. That's what it reminds me of, just a little pit bull. He mauls the shit out of everybody I've seen him fight. He comes with it, you know.
That's one name Golovkin. That's one name Golovkin is mum on, and I made a video about that not too long ago. He is mum as fuck on that name, B. Yeah, and, of course, these Golovkin lovers are like, well, he's in negotiations with Danny Jacobs. No, motherfucker. He's supposed to fight in December. Why the fuck can't he try to fight Kazerski? Because Kazerski hasn't fought since March or May of this year. He's been vocal about Golovkin. He could have fought Kazerski in December, but he chose not to. He's not even talking about this dude. Yeah, like motherfucker don't exist.
And he's definitely gunning for Triple G. He's been adamant about it. You know what I'm saying? There's no denial on him. He wants Triple G. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? I can respect dude just for that principle. You know what I'm saying? He wants the best. He wants the top dude. He ain't even joking about the shit. You know, so Billy Joe, cough it up, do something. You know what I'm saying? Do something worthy of The Rock. These postponements are a joke. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this one because we got a lot of other shit to get into. On another note, you know, we got Terence Crawford's fight coming up in another week or so in Omaha on December 10th. Ray Beltran was scheduled to fight Baby Bull Juan Diaz on the undercard, which I thought was going to be a tremendous fight. I was looking forward to seeing that shit, but Juan Diaz had to pull out recently, and it's looking like Mason Menard is going to be the replacement bout with Ray Beltran. Let me get you guys' initial thoughts on this replacement. I'll go ahead and start off with Big Cool on this one.
I'm not too familiar with Mason Menard, but I mean, Ray Beltran is a tough fight for anybody. Even though I would have favored Juan Diaz. Like I said, I can't speak too much on Menard, but like I said, it should be a good fight because, you know, Beltran is typically in good fights where, you know, it's good action. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure to be a worthy replacement. If not, HBO wouldn't have selected him or approved him. So, let's see how it play out December 10th.
Yeah, Menard, he's basically a regional titleist, I guess you could say. Yeah, he's got a nice little workup on him behind him. You know, no big names, I guess, but you know, like I said, he has a regional title at that division, 140, or actually at lightweight, not super lightweight. So I'm not sure if that's going to be on the line against Beltran or not. But, you know, he's 32-1, so we'll see how it looks. You know, young guy going against a veteran like Beltran. I'm expecting Beltran to outschool this kid, and, you know, let me go ahead and pass it over to Bo.
Okay. Real big cool. Ray Beltran is a tough out for anybody. But here's the thing. 2K said this earlier about Curtis Stevens when his biggest win. The biggest win for Menard Mason is a guy by the name of Bernardo. Bernardo was undefeated. That shit is fucking deceiving, people. It's motherfucking deceiving. If you look at the rest of Mason Menard's fighters, barely any of them motherfuckers had winning goddamn records. Okay, we're talking motherfuckers. Right, we're talking motherfuckers with double-digit goddamn losses. Okay, all right. And if you go back to his one loss happened early in his career, and ever since then they ain't put him in there with another motherfucker of that type of caliber since motherfucking then. All right? So, right. Okay, this is a guy that's ranked 50th in the motherfucking world, and for some odd reason, he's ranked in the top 7 in America. But to your point, Ray Beltran is a tough out for anybody. Now, as far as Juan Diaz is concerned, listen, I get what you're saying, Twan, and I'm not normally a guy that does this. I didn't want to fucking see Juan Diaz. I'm not going to even lie. I didn't want to see Juan. I didn't want to see Juan Diaz, man. I didn't want to see him. When the motherfucker got watched by Marquez, that was it. His reaction and the way he did, that was it. I mean, that was it. I didn't want to see Juan Diaz. Juan Diaz never, to me, looked like a conditionally trained boxer. He just looked like a dude that went into a gym and would, kind of bull his way into fighting you. He never looked like he fit the boxer mold as far as I'm concerned. Now, I mean, I could be being harsh on him, but that's just me. He never looked like he fitted the boxer mold. He never looked like remember he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out because he was in school trying to get he was in college trying to get an education. He got
a law degree.
Right. So he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I'm not going to look at Mason Menard's one victory over an undefeated opponent, and this is fool's fucking gold, you guys. I got Ray Beltran, and he might watch this guy in 1 or 2 fucking rounds. I'm just being honest with you, because there's nothing about Mason Menard's record that says anything to me that he can compete with Ray Beltran. Nothing at all. Period. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. I mean, when you got 5 or 6 motherfuckers, maybe even more, on your fucking resume with double-digit losses, no, man. No, fam. I'm sorry, fam. I can't roll with that, man. I'm sorry. That shit you normally see in the first 5 or 6 fights of your career. I'm talking in your fucking 20th and 30th motherfucking fights. You're still fighting dudes like this? No, fam. I can't roll with that. I'm sorry.
All right, I guess we can keep it short on that one. As far as Mason Menard, yeah, you got a shout out on our show, so big up to you buddy boy.
had fun with coming with it tonight.
Juan Diaz, I don't know what the hell was your problem as far as being replaced in this bout. It was definitely a fight I think you needed to rejuvenate your career, especially as far as being visible. So, yeah, good luck to you. Hopefully we will see you in the ring again or in another opportunity like this on HBO. As far as Beltran, you know, he's had his opportunities. He's fought the Crawfords of this world in that division. So, you know, just another step for him. We're going to go ahead and kick it over to our next topic. We got Bob Arum. He reported pay-per-view buys for the Pacquiao fight, which was in the 300,000 range. Just a quick analysis from you guys. What does that mean for boxing, Pacquiao, and just potential a pay-per-view? You know, I know we've had some minor talks about this before, but what do you guys think? What does this mean as far as pay-per-view in general right now? I'll go ahead and start with Menard on this one.
Pacquiao needs to retire, or I'm gonna keep it real. Pacquiao needs to retire, or he needs to go against Terence Crawford at 140 and go pass it to the young bull, or Bob Arum needs to stop being on that bullshit and let him fight Adrian Browne. How long can you milk Pacquiao? I mean, let's be honest. How long? I mean, we all streamed that motherfucking fight. Why we gonna sit here act like we bought the fight? We streamed the shit. Or we watched somebody else that bought it, some casual ass motherfucker bought it, posted it on Facebook. We watched it through there. Allegedly, I don't, because you know that is something or whatever. But let's be honest though, man. I'm not gonna sit here and just say Bob Arum needs to go and stop bullshit. Go throw him against some other welterweights, or throw him against Browne. Get a big fight going on, and you know he can make some more money if you're gonna throw Pacquiao out there. At least throw him to the wolves, man. Get you some money out of it at least. You know what I'm saying? Now you're talking about, you know what I'm saying? A potential fight with the welterweight named Jeff Horn. Come on, really? Ain't nobody gonna buy that shit. Stop bullshitting, man. Either Pacquiao needs to retire, fight Terence Crawford, fight Browne, or fight one of the other top welterweights in the division. And that's my take on it. Shit.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Menard just started dry snitching on people.
Definitely struggling to find a replacement for Pacquiao in that pay-per-view replacement era. I guess he's trying with Crawford. I'm not sure who else he's really trying to prop up into that status of Pacquiao. But that's pretty much seems to be the holdup as far as letting him go and do his thing politically full time. It needs to happen though, especially as Menard mentioned, Jeff Horn was mentioned as a opponent possibility for Pacquiao's next fight, which is pretty ridiculous considering he also ducked Errol Spence Jr. So for him to get a possible fight with Pacquiao off of ducking Errol Spence is just ridiculous. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Big Cool on this one. What's your take on it?
Man, I don't know what it is, man. People just don't want to buy pay-per-views, and then you didn't have a fight, even though it's Pacquiao. I mean, nobody was crazy for Pacquiao Juan Diaz fight. We knew what it was going into it, and it's exactly what we thought it was. It was a bullshit-ass fight to give Pacquiao the title. I don't think he should retire, but I agree with Bernard. He does need to fight better in competition and new guys, different guys give us fresh matchups, but I think we're going towards the era where, you know, a lot of fans want boxing back on regular TV, network television or primetime television, whatever I'm trying to say, like PBC. And I don't think a lot of people want to dish out $50, $60, $70 for, really one fight. Because that's what we all did a couple weeks ago, even though we didn't mind. But, I mean, if you're just going to give us that one great fight, just put it on HBO or Showtime or something, open up the budget more, because y'all giving us one great fight with barely no promotion and a sorry-ass undercard, and you're expecting us to dish out money. That's a big problem. So, I mean, fight better fighters, open up the budget more, and go from there. But I'm not surprised that Pacquiao's numbers didn't do as well, because, like I said, it was a bullshit fight going in, and nobody wanted to see this fight. We wanted to see him and Terence Crawford, but Bob Arum doesn't give a fuck about what the fans want, so that's my thoughts on it, man.
Let me get Bo's take on this just to get a different perspective. This was Top Rank doing the self-promotion on this one, as far as, they usually do a partnership with HBO. So this was them actually doing them a self-promotion. Does that look better for them in terms of that, or is it still just a minor event, with the 300 pay-per-view buy?
Well, that depends on how you look at it. But I just want to say, shout out to my partner over there for dry snitching. We all know we streamed it. Man, damn, nigga. The SEC finna be on all our asses in a minute. But it depends on how you look at it. Now, if you look at it from this standpoint,
I said allegedly, motherfucker, allegedly. Shit.
But it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it from the standpoint of it did $300K at X amount of dollars and it didn't have to pay no type of promotional fees to HBO, and if you look at it like that, then in that instance, it could be considered good business, but it also would explain why Pacquiao only got a guaranteed $4 million, and the rest of his money was going to be predicated off what the pay-per-view numbers was. So that's one way you can look at it. But you can also look at it like pay-per-view is down, period, like what Big Cool said, because I don't think it's a model of people not wanting to put out money. I just think it's just a model of, you've milked pay-per-view long enough now. On top of, like you said, milking the fighters, you've milked the pay-per-view market long enough now. When we know, the thing about technology is we know for a fact, like you said, people can stream fights. Allegedly, you can go to a bar and pay $10 and watch a motherfucking fight, or go to a friend's house, and watch a fucking fight. So people are just not willing to shell out, their money like that when there's other ways they know they can get access to a fight, period. And like you said, then when you look at PBC, when you get Earl Spence doing 6 million people watching them, or you got Thurman and Porter. I mean, people, you can complain about big stars not fighting, but at least you know when they fight, you know when you're going to see them at. You got so that also plays a part in it. But at the end of the day, let's make something clear. This Top Rank's going to do what Top Rank wants to do. Look, we see this shit all the time where they throw out names to fight Pacquiao Crawford. I heard Jeff Horn. I heard Lomachenko after he won, okay? They throw out these names like Pacquiao hasn't fought below 147, but all of a sudden he can go to 135 to fight fucking Lomachenko. Shit like that. So, I mean, this is what they do. They throw out these feeders. They see what bites, and then they're going to do at the end of the day what they want to do. Because one thing I am desperately sure of, they're not going to put Pacquiao in a fight with someone outside of fucking Top Rank to pass over the flag of being a pay-per-view star. That's the one thing we're not going to see. We're not going to see him fight Adrian Browne. Okay, whoever he fights that's going to pass this torch is going to be a Top Rank fucking guy. I bet your ass on that shit. It's going to be a Top Rank fucking guy. So, but yeah, I mean,
can definitely agree with you there. That's a good point.
Pacquiao definitely needs to retire, because at the end of the day, and I said it before, 2K said this, and Sess, and I think we all agree on this. When you have, and I hate to say this, but these older fighters, they have to get out the fucking game so these younger dudes can come along and show us what they got. They just have to fucking do that, man.
You wonder what Bob has over Pacquiao said that got him coming back, for this bullshit. Using Vargas and, possibly against Jeff Horn. Like, well, what is it that got you? What is he milking out of you? You know what I'm saying? We can't get a real fight out of you.
And the whole time he's paying attention to Pacquiao, Bradley hasn't fought, Brandon Rios hasn't fought. There's a lot of dudes in that stable that hasn't fought because why? His main focus is Pacquiao. Yeah, Brandon. His main focus is Pacquiao, trying to build him up. I mean, we talk about Lomachenko.
Like I said, he's trying to build the next pay-per-view star and Lomachenko and
The only reason why Terence Crawford is fighting is because Gennady Golovkin and Jacobs couldn't get made. That's the only reason why Terence Crawford is fighting.
Basically. So he's trying to build his next pay-per-view star, and I guess that's what he's got holding over his head is that he ain't got nobody to replace Pacquiao at the moment that could replace that demand, as far as fighters. So I guess that would bring us over to our next topic. We could do our divisional spotlight considering the fight passed. The 175-pound division, light heavyweight. What do you guys make of it, man? It's I think it's a pretty intriguing division. Not probably the whole top 10, but just within the top 5. There's some pretty intriguing things, I guess, intriguing matchups, I guess you could make. I'll go ahead and pass it on to 2K. What's your take on that division in aftermath of Ward and Kovalev as well? So in that perspective.
I mean, I think it's kind of light. The addition of Ward makes it intriguing. Let's take Ward out of there. It's light. The only matchups we really care about.
Like I said, it's pretty much top 5. It's not a top 10 thing, top 5, like I was saying.
The only matchups we really only care about seeing without Ward would be, Kovalev Stevenson or maybe Kovalev Beterbiev. That's really about it. One of the guys that I like a lot that a lot of people aren't talking about, he got popular because he was the guy that they wanted to use. He was the next guy that they wanted to use as the guy that Andre Ward was ducking, and that's Vasyl Shabransky. That's the guy who's getting ready to fight Sullivan Barrera, I believe in, December 16th.
Yes.
I think he's a very good fighter, Vasyl Shabransky, very good boxer. You know what I'm saying? He's very fundamentally sound. By the way, Bo, I think he beat Sullivan Barrera. Just especially by the way he did Uniesky Gonzalez. Gonzalez and Barrera aren't that much different in terms of style, and Shabransky pretty much embarrassed the shit out of Gonzalez. The only difference would be that I think Barrera is a bigger guy. He's naturally a cruiserweight, honestly, that's squeezing himself into a 175-pound frame. But other than that, he's pretty much the same as Uniesky Gonzalez. But Shabransky's a good fighter. Sullivan Barrera is another good fighter. Joe Smith Jr., man, he's got that fight with Bernard Hopkins. If he fucks around and, he can't beat Bernard Hopkins without knocking him out. So if he fucks around and knocks Bernard Hopkins out, something that's never been done before, he will immediately catapult himself in possibly the top 4 light heavyweight fighters in the division. So, I mean, it's more of a division of what if. Let me put it that way. Nathan Cleverly's if Nathan Cleverly's really back to form, and Jurgen Bramer's not really a fight to say, hey, Nathan Cleverly's back, guys. He probably needs to get in the ring with somebody else. I actually like the matchup between Nathan Cleverly and Gvodzyk, Alexander Gvodzyk, the guy that beat Isaac Chalimba on the Ward Kovalev card. I like that matchup for Gvodzyk. Something like that, we really need to, like Big Foo said, we really need to wait and see who actually turns up the heat, who becomes the guy to be the next talked about motherfucker besides Ward, Kovalev, and Stevenson. So I think it's kind of light.
I could definitely agree with you there. I'd like to see Gvodzyk in there against somebody, though. He's probably one of the more interesting names in that division outside of Beterbiev right now that you could go to. as far as making intriguing matchups within that minor range of division, between the Alvarezes and stuff like that. We still got Fonfara as a name out there as well, so let's not eliminate him. He's still going to be out there. Shabransky, Barrera, like you said, that's going to be a pretty good fight to see where the division is, or just to get a gauge of where people are in that division. That's going to be an excellent matchup for that. So I'm actually looking forward to that fight and seeing what Shabransky and Barrera have to offer. Barrera is under a new trainer. He left Abel Sanchez after the Andre Ward loss. So just interesting to see where he's going with his career, after that and how all that pans out.
I think the division of jump want a lot of guys from 168 move up to 175.
Any names in particular you think at 168? I guess that we've been hearing Badou Jack. He may be moving up to 175 after this Degale fight.
I want my Andrzej Degale to move up, man. I still got hope for Andrzej Degale, man. Even though he ain't fighting too often.
I had seen an article. I agree with that, Big Cool. I had seen an article before they announced the negotiations between Badou Jack and James Degale. James Degale is actually trying to go up and fight Adonis Stevenson. I had seen an article on that.
That's a good fight.
With James Degale's word saying that he's looking at that fight. So I actually think James Degale might be looking to get up at 175, possibly more than Badou Jack, just because he's already been in the tabloids talking about it. So, but who knows? Yeah, I agree. I think that's an excellent fight, man. I would love to see that shit.
Yep. That's an intriguing fight when you think about it, man. The explosiveness and athletic ability of Stevenson versus the skills of Degale, man. That'll be a good fight.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of hoping we see some movement on Ward and Stevenson, even though we know it's not going to happen. I'm intrigued in seeing if it can be made, just because, like I said, I was impressed with Adonis Stevenson fighting on the inside against Thomas Williams. So I would love to see that play out against Andre Ward possibly, or see if that would be something that would play out into their matchup if Ward wasn't able to control it with a jab from the outside. So yeah, I want to see some movement on that matchup made, and I definitely think Ward needs to go ahead and take that Showtime route, being that his contract with HBO is up and they tried to do him dirty with the whole Kovalev fight, even with the rematch clause. I think they're trying to set him up still.
Let me ask you a question, not to stray too far off the topic, but do you think Stevenson is a tougher fight for Kovalev? I mean, than Kovalev was for Ward?
No,
say that again?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Do I think Stevenson is a tougher fight for Ward than Kovalev?
Yeah.
Nah, I can't say so. I think the only thing that makes it more intriguing is the inside part of it. That we know Adonis won't clinch up like that, and that he'll actually exchange on the inside with Ward. So that's
what get a beat. That's what would get a beat.
I think his explosiveness kind of can, early in the fight, but I think,
he's not smart enough, guys.
Yeah, he's not smart enough. Ward will be able to time him with something or set him up with something on the inside. But I'm just saying, I know Stevenson wouldn't shy away from him on the inside the way Kovalev did, or as far as clinching and all that shit. So that's why I'm like, it's something like it's more intriguing for me to see that part of the matchup as opposed to the outside, where I know Ward is going to dominate him and control him with his jab. jab to the body, jab to the head. I can predict that kind of thing happening against Adonis. On the inside is where I would be interested in seeing what goes on in the fight more than anything.
I think it probably turned to a thrashing. I mean, Stevenson gassed mentally and physically, but I mean, look, you don't want to do that against Ward. Like, you never know. Every dog has his day, and he is explosive and athletic and has some, decent hand speed. So,
Yeah. All right. So with that said, let's go on into this review for the past weekend, man. Me and 2K were talking about this one earlier a little bit. Vasyl Lomachenko versus Nicholas Walters review. Pretty interesting fight. I don't even know what to make of it, man. I'm going to put the 2K last on this one, though, just so we can do our thing. I'll start off with Bo on this one. What was your thoughts on this fight?
Damn, man. I'm going to try to control my temper and my emotion because it's been, the last 2 weeks been a lot of fucking bullshit and fuckery going on as far as social media is concerned. But, look, Nicholas Walters came into this fight not even wanting to fucking fight.
Well, actually, Bo, let me cut you off before we get started. Let me bring up something else. Because we talked about this fight beforehand when it was first mentioned what was going on, as far as the fight being announced and that it was being made. We talked about this, and Bo made a good point. I had asked him about, with 11 months being off, Nicholas Walters being off close to a year, what did he think? And Bo pretty much went out and said, with 11 months off, no, it's not happening against this caliber of a fighter. So he said this from Jump Street. So go ahead, Bo. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get into more.
Okay. Nicholas Walters. When I saw the purse was, and this goes back to something 2K said way back when the fight was supposed to happen. When I saw the purse, and Lomo got $1 million, and Walters only got $300K. Now remember, supposedly
for this fight.
Right, for this fight. Now, supposedly way back then, it was a 50-50, supposed to be a 50-50 split, that he was going to get $500K. And remember, it was Lomachenko said, I'll give you $300K of my purse. And 2K said back then that nigga ain't making no $500K, he making more than that. Because ain't no way you're going to give up $300K and all you're going to take home left is $200K. So when I saw the purse of this fight, I said, Walters just took this fight because he needed some motherfucking money he wanted to pay. The dude ain't fought in over a year. His last fight, I think, when he fought Sosa, he got over $100,000. He feel like he got screwed. He feel like he got screwed. He feel like he didn't get paid. He was going to leave Top Rank. He threatened to leave Top Rank. Didn't leave him. Okay. Then, he got screwed out the Sosa fight, and they offered him this fight at $300K. So going into this fight, when I saw that purse and I looked at all that, I said, this dude, he was mentally checked out before the fight happened. I'm looking at them when they was talking to him and doing the meet and greet, and he's hugging Lomachenko like he was his long lost fucking brother and shit. I mean, he's being nice to him, smiling, hugging. I'm like, this dude ain't ready to fight mentally. He ain't ready to fight mentally at all. Now, I take nothing away from Lomachenko. He went in there, he did his thing. He was masterful in what he did. I'll give him props for all of it. I'm not taking nothing away from what he did. I'm talking about what I saw out of Nicholas Walters. Okay? He checked out. That's plain and simple to me. He checked out. Then he blamed inactivity, which I'm not taking. Again, we've seen this before with the inactivity. For some odd reason, I don't give a fuck what people say to me. Top Rank has this thing when you don't toe that fucking Top Rank status quo, they're going to teach you a goddamn lesson. And this is exactly what happened because you can't tell me why Nicholas Walters hadn't had a fight in all this time. He had no promotion issues. The motherfucker wasn't injured. Okay? There wasn't even rumors of a possible fight for Nicholas Walters. They just threw him right in there with Lomachenko. And again, taking that away from Lomachenko, but I said, like Twan said then, The fact that he's been off all this time against Lomachenko's skill set, hell no, he's not gonna beat him. And we saw that. He during the fight, he never maintained foot position. So Lomachenko was able to hit and move because he had superior foot position. The 2 times that Walters had found some success with going to the body and cracking him, he had better foot. He had gained better foot position. His foot was out. His lead foot was outside of Lomachenko's lead foot, so he can move in better and move around. But I mean, he just checked out. Bob Arum wanted to teach this motherfucker a lesson. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory or he was bought, but Bob Arum wanted to teach this motherfucker a lesson. He did not let this dude fight all this time for no reason that we are given. Okay, again, he wasn't hurt. He had no promotional issues. All right. Now, for those who say that we coming down to him for quitting, here's my biggest problem. You are a fighter. You go down on your shield. That's how you're supposed to go down. When I'm seeing guys with over the bones and bad shoulders and shit, when I saw Jay Berto fight 5 rounds with a bad shoulder, when we saw Kell Brooks with an over the bone still come out and fight, like, come on, man, you're supposed to go out on your shield. Now, you can sit and you can tell me shit about, well, you don't know what it's like when you get hit and you get punched at, whatever. I'm not saying that it's fucked up. I'm saying me personally, depending on how you are, I'm one of those dudes, I don't like cats that quit. I just don't fucking like that. And because he did quit, it's going to be a cross he's going to have to bear. Now, can he come back from this? Yeah, Vitaly Klitschko was able to come back from this. Vitaly Klitschko quit on the stool against Chris Bird, and he was able to come back from this. But it's going to make it that much harder. And then, the excuse that he gave, he blamed HBO on national TV. Do you think the top brands at HBO is going to appreciate that shit? No, they're not. So, I mean, it was bad all the way around, taking nothing away from Lomachenko's performance. But Nicholas Walters checked out. He felt like, hey, I'm getting fucking pennies. I didn't get a fight. He did not come prepared to fight. I think from Jump Street, like I said, going back to the way he was greeting and smiling and treating Lomachenko like a brother and all that, I don't think he ever had any intentions on really trying to put in a fight. This dude mentally fucking checked out, and it really bothers me because I never saw this. I never thought Nicholas Walters would do something like this. I just never thought he'd do it. But, again, hats off to Lomachenko. He gave one performance. I would have had Lomachenko. I mean, it would have been a more even fight had he been busy. But don't make the excuse to me that inactivity is the reason why you didn't look good. Don't make the excuse because you knew you was inactive when you signed to take this goddamn fight. So, it is what it is. I'm gonna keep a lot of things to myself because there's a lot of things that's being said. And for some reason it seems like when you say something, when you're criticizing or you're critiquing a fighter about people's favorite fighter, they fucking think you hating on the motherfucker. I'm not hating on the dude. I'm just criticizing what the fuck I saw.
Yourself, man? Well, you're above stuff. What the fuck is that? How you gonna keep it to yourself? Speak your mind, nigga. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. Well, okay, fine. Fuck it.
Don't be a little bitch, bro.
Fine. Okay, fine. You wait a minute. Time out. Pause, nigga. Pause. Pause. But no, listen, the bottom line is, I said this last time, and I meant this. We saw it again with HBO. The commentary for the Ward fight was totally fucking different when it came to this goddamn fight. Okay? It was totally all of a sudden, HBO had the most prestigious respect for fucking fighters and boxers and movers like Lomachenko. All of them fucking sudden, they had this. Mm-hmm. You saw this again when Rizzo fought on the Cotto Canelo undercard. They crucified this motherfucker. But then when Fury and Klitschko fought a week later, the commentary totally fucking different for a fight that was even worse. Okay? So when I said this before, agenda-driven mainstream motherfucking media got to fucking go. It's got to go. Is Lomachenko a talent? Yes, Lomachenko is the talent, okay? Is Lomachenko skillful? Yes, ain't nobody taking nothing away from his performance. But do not tell me how is a guy like Lomachenko in his second and third fight got title shots in both fights, and the same detour and rhetoric about resume and who he fought to get these title shots was not there, but when it comes to Earl Spence, that's all the fuck I hear is about his resume and shit. How is a guy like Lomachenko can get back-to-back title fights in the second and third fight after losing, but when it comes to a guy like fucking Earl Spence, I got to hear about his resume and who he fought. Why is it always like that in this motherfucking sport? If we're not gonna be fair and I'm biased, then shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up and let this sport go to where it's gonna go. What?
I mean, it was like that with Terence Crawford to a certain extent too. You know, people I forgot who he fought before he fought Postal. People was like,
Terence, listen, Terence Crawford. Look, the only reason why I like doing this panel and I fucks with y'all is at the end of the day, we can at least we call the shit straight down the fucking line. Now, sometimes we let emotion get in there? Yeah, but when it happens, that's when one of the other motherfuckers in this panel will check you about that. But this shit right here, this is some fucking bullshit to me. It's some fucking bullshit. Top Rank gets away with doing the kind of shit that they do. Nobody say fucking nothing. Okay, but when it comes to like PBC and TMT and all that shit, oh man, you can't get nothing hearing about the fucked up shit that's going on. So this shit was done to Nicholas Walters. I really feel like this was a smack to Nicholas Walters for refusing to follow the Top Rank status goddamn quote. And that's the reason why he was set out this goddamn long and then thrown in there without being prepared. Now, at the end of the day, though, you signed that dotted line, you signed that contract, you just going into this fight, so I don't want to fucking hear it. But you can't not look at this. Brandon Rio said the same thing. I'm retired, man. I'm not fighting. I'm retired. Because he beat Alvarado, then you put him in the ring for another 8 fucking months. And you threw him in there with fucking Timothy Bradley. Okay? And so this is what they do to their fighters. So motherfuckers talking to me about Al Heyman. This is Top Rank do this shit to their fighters. They got a history of it. Miguel Cotto had the same fucking complaint. Marquez had the same goddamn complaint. They got a history of doing this shit to fighters. You know, but when you bring it up, but when you bring it up and say something, oh, you hating on, I ain't hating on nobody. I'm bringing up the fucking facts. If you fucking look at it, you gonna see what you want to see. You ain't gonna see what you don't want to see. So, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, congratulations, Lomachenko. But Nicholas Walters, he checked out long before this fucking fight took place.
Yeah, one of my boys, funny guy, my boy said Nicholas Walters quick to get to the strip club for midnight. But I mean, I don't, like I said, I thought that, you know, going to this fight, coming in up 11 months, pretty much a year, he had no chance. I thought I gave him a good chance, but I didn't think, you know, it would be in his favor, especially, you know, going against a guy as skilled as Lomachenko, that he would have to have a fast start, and he just didn't do it. I mean, he just looked like a guy that was rusty, not to take anything away from Lomachenko, because, I mean, he is skillful, but I'm not going to be on his dick and be like, oh, he's unbeatable and he's this and he's that. But, I mean, he's skillful. But, you know, I agree with a lot of what you were saying, Bo. I mean, it didn't seem right.
Man,
and Walter,
I had no idea the purse was what Bo was saying as far as him taking only $300,000 for this fight as opposed to what was offered the first time. So you're saying he took less for this fight as opposed to what was offered?
$200K less. $200K less. Nicholas Walters got $1 million. I mean, Lomachenko got $1 million.
And you
Nicholas
know,
Walters got $200K.
Me and 2K were going into this a little earlier, as far as what we thought was going on as far as this whole fight, and it kind of only brings that more into prominence now. You know, that you're telling us the actual purse that was settled on for this fight. So, man. Yeah, this is pretty ridiculous. If you look at the fight, I was actually there covering it for Who Jab. I'll go ahead and pass it over to somebody else on this one. I'll start off with, I'll let Menard go, and I'll finish off with 2K because I know we had an interesting back and forth going off earlier, so we'll go ahead and conclude on that one. So go ahead, Menard. What were your thoughts on the fight?
One-sided. It was a one-sided fight. I'm going to sit here and say this. I understand Nicholas Walters didn't fight for a whole year, but ain't the motto in boxing is stay ready so you won't have to get ready? Now, he should at least been in the gym, should have been consistent on working out or whatever. I think there was a picture that came out once the fight broke out that you saw Nicholas Walters a little bit blown up. You know, so I don't know if him trying to make weight played a role in this or not. I'm not making excuses either. He should have stayed ready. You know what I'm saying? But from the piggyback on what Bo said with Bob Arum and everything, if I was Nicholas Walters right now, I'll finish my contract out with Top Rank and I'll go to Al Haven.
Man, this is hold on, Menard. Let me hold off there. Now, this is the thing. Nicholas Walters had the opportunity to lead Top Rank recently. I want to say just as recently as the Jason Sosa fight. Like, he re-signed with them for Jason Sosa and all that bullshit. Like, he could have left them then. So I'm like, it was bad business then for him to re-sign with Top Rank. This was something that I had been talking about a long time ago. Like, he should not have re-signed with Top Rank, period. So
I don't know what it is. I don't think people. I don't know what's up with these boxers. I don't know what Top Rank be telling them. They must be telling them a whole bunch of lies. But apparently, they're able to keep certain fighters up in that stable. I mean,
because this is the thing. He was still at 126 at the time, and you got to think at that time, who had the most fighters at 126? Fucking PBC, fucking Gary Russell, Leo Santa Cruz, fucking Frampton was just moving up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had all the guys at 126, and fucking Lomachenko was the only guy that Walters could have fought at 126 with Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? And we knew that fight wasn't going to go down initially. You know what I'm saying? At first, it wasn't going to go down. So I'm like, there's the only other chances he has for big fights is against the PBC guys at 126. He ends up moving to 130 after that. But I'm like, you know, he shouldn't have re-signed with Top Rank even then. You know, that was my whole stance. But go ahead, Menard.
I mean, no, he should. I mean, I don't know what his contract looks like right now, but at this point, he either A, finish his contract out or figure out how some way to breach and void the contract and go to Top Rank. I mean, go to Al Haven, excuse me, or something, because Aaron's bad business practices is really much being are bad for fighters' careers. We saw what happened with, again, we can go with Brandon Rios. We saw what happened. It was more than 8 months. I gotta give it to him. He didn't fight till from January to December. And when you put him in December, you fed him to Timothy Bradley. We thought he was gonna fight Kell Brooks. We thought he was gonna fight, I think, even Diego Chavez. I may be wrong on that one, but you thought there was a couple fights coming up. Just look at how many fighters have sued Bob Arum. Hell, Mikey Garcia just finally got his contract and able to fight under the PBC banner. So look at Julio Cesar Chavez. He left Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? Not a fight I would like you, but that's another example. So I'm just basically saying he just needs to, wherever he needs to do, he needs to get away from Bob Arum, man. And I believe if he gets away from Bob Arum, gets with Al Haven, he can redeem his career. You know what I'm saying? And if anything, he needs to definitely do is he needs to get back in the ring with Lomachenko and see if he can knock his head off and redeem that. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing.
Loma ain't gonna give him that shit. The damn negotiation requirement is gonna be even more ridiculous than that.
Fucking he made $1 million for he made $1 million for this shit. Are you fucking serious?
Well, think about this, fellas. Think about this, fellas. They said Top Rank has not yet been criticized for the fact that Orlando Salido said he'll fight Lomachenko, okay? Yep. But, you know, he wants more money. And Lomachenko manager said, fuck him, we don't need him, he's moving on. They did not get criticized for that. They did not get criticized for that.
Yeah,
well, you know why? Lomachenko's the golden boy. He's the golden boy.
This is all bad. And when you see the comparisons that fucking Bob Arum was making to fucking Lomachenko and Ali, and you look at this motherfucking fight, and I'm like, I'm seeing some of the things I'm seeing from people. It wasn't what you guys think you saw. But man. I'm just like, it wasn't that, man. Like,
I want to
the seventh round was the one round that you could be like, okay, yeah, it was just yeah, he clowned his ass in the 7th round. The first 6 rounds was just some straight up amateurish. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't punches and shit. Yeah, like it wasn't what you guys think it was. I'm like, Walters has been out 11 months. You know, and I'm like, I asked him before the fight because, you know, I was covering this shit. And I asked him, would the 11 months be bad, you know, was it bad timing? And he's like, it's always a good time, you know. So I'm like, he didn't think, I'm guessing he's saying it wasn't going to be a factor. So then to hear him say this shit after the fight, you know, I'm kind of disappointed to hear him say that shit. And I'm kind of disappointed as a Caribbean myself, you know what I'm saying, to see him fucking quit. But you know what I'm saying? The odds were stacked against him. When I'm hearing this fucking the whole purse thing, and he knew he needed a knockout to win, he wasn't going to win a decision, and you knew the first half of the first 6 rounds was going. It wasn't like Lomachenko was just doing anything necessarily great. You know what I'm saying? The whole angling and pivoting, all that shit wasn't really necessarily a factor to me looking at the fight personally. I don't know, man. Yeah, and it really looks like, you know, me and 2K had this conversation earlier. Fucking Bob put his ass on timeout for not fucking taking this fight earlier? You know what I'm saying? That is the only fucking explanation. There is no reason for him not to have had a fight since against anybody.
That's bullshit.
No fucking talk against anybody. There's no explanation for it, man. And me and 2K fucking was talking about this earlier. Bob put his ass on timeout for not taking this fight and gave him this chump change. You know what I'm saying? Fucking Nicholas just had a fucking baby this year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, it's just too much, man. I don't know. 2K, let me get your thoughts on it. This scandal we were talking about earlier. I said we was gonna go into it. Let me get your thoughts on this fight, because I'm like, even on the fight itself, because it wasn't like Loma did anything that spectacular until the 7th round, to where you felt like Nicholas Walters was overwhelmed, and it still wasn't like he was out of the fight. You know, he just didn't put up an effort. So I'll let 2K speak on it.
Well, start from the beginning. At 126, man, we used to talk about this fight all the time. You know, Walters, Lomachenko, and Rigo. And at 126, I never thought Walters could beat Lomachenko, not at 126. But at 130, that was always like the advantage that I thought Walters had. People would ask me, like, what was my take on the fight, man? I'll give them my assessment on both fighters, but I didn't make a prediction. And the reason why I didn't is because I wanted to wait and see what was going to happen in the fight, and I wanted to see the fan reaction. It was so fucking obvious to me that Nicholas Walters not fighting since December of last year, which ended up being a draw, and then he comes in November of this year, 11 months later, over 11 months later, and he jumps in the ring with one of the best fighters pound for pound in the world right now with no fucking tune-up, that was an obvious flaw. It's going to be an obvious disadvantage. Also, we saw 1 month out before the fight that Nicholas Walters walked into the ring. Nicholas Walters took a picture. Nigga was like 237 pounds.
Yeah, he was fucking 150. He was like 155 in that picture. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is like a month out. This is a month out, B. Like, this is in fucking October. So when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, nigga. I was like, he probably has no chance. Okay. And then, you know, he dropped all the weight. He didn't look good hitting the mitts in Panama, but he did look good at the media day, media workout. He looked okay hitting the mitts with his pop. But, man, it's just so many anomalies that were obvious that could tell us, hey, this guy's not 100%. You know what I'm saying? I didn't watch any of the weigh-in. I didn't watch a lot of the build-up to the fight. But going into the fight, like you said, Juan, I'm watching Loma, bro. First of all, he's standing right in front of Nicholas Walters. He's right there in front of him, okay? He has absolutely no head movement. His hands are low. He doesn't keep his hands very high. In spurts, he does. Whenever he's going to attack, that's when you see him bring his hands up. But when he's not attacking, a lot of the time, he brings his hands low. You saw that a lot in the second half of the fight, or at least after the fourth round. He started dropping his hands low because he was getting cocky. All night long, and I mean from round 1 to round 7, the fucking straight right hand was there. Loma's guard was so open for the straight right hand that if he would have just thrown it, Walters would have just thrown it, landed flush, it could have changed the fight. But he was so...
You got to think, TK, that's an intellectual thing, too. You know what I'm saying? As far as fighting against southpaws. You know, that's something, that's from the school. I won't say the school of Mayweather because it comes from before that. But, you know, that's something you gotta know mentally from seeing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That it comes from that kind of school of thought. But, you know, I definitely agree because I actually saw Walters land a straight right against Loma in the fight, and I was like, why wasn't he using it more? You know, but go ahead.
He landed a nice right uppercut, too.
You're right. You're right. Yep, y'all are both right. That was late. I know exactly what right hand you're talking about. And that's when me and my co-hosts were like, it's about fucking time, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But dude, Loma's angles and shit, I was not impressed. Okay, because Walters was actually turning him.
Exactly. It wasn't a factor at all. Him doing this pivoting and all that. It wasn't a factor in anything I saw.
Yeah, multiple times up against the ropes, and multiple times in the middle of the ring, Lomachenko would try to move to his right, and Walters would move with him and turn Lomachenko, but he just could not pull the trigger on the right hand. And actually, a lot of those times when he's actually turning Loma, dude, I swear to God, he could have landed at least 3 quick punches on Loma.
To the body. Yeah, to the body.
He landed some nice levels to the body, too.
Yeah, he didn't throw it because, in my opinion, he was rusty, he was off balance, and it was the inactivity. I'll give you an example. He threw a right hand one of them rounds, right? He was in a wide stance, and he threw a right hand, and the nigga, stumbled forward after he missed the right hand. That's how off balance Nicholas Walters was. I mean, it was terrible. It was like looking at a guy hit the ring for the first time in, 5 years, dog. This was not an even matchup by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. Loma did well dispatching of Walters because he should have done it given the logistics surrounding this fight, right? But when you look at Loma as a whole, if you just fucking don't look at Walters but look at what Loma was doing, there's a lot of flaws that tell me that there are possibly guys that can give Loma trouble from 140 all the way down to 126. And then I'm going to say 122, with Rigo being there if he ever moves up. A lot of these guys can give Loma trouble. I see a lot of motherfuckers jumping the gun. Shout out to my man Menard, a.k.a. Mr. Fuckery. My man came out with that goddamn post with a motherfucker saying that Loma beats everybody right now. And he should be, pound for pound number 1, and he's the reason why Mayweather's not coming back, and he'll knock out Terence Crawford. Get the fuck out of here. What fight did y'all niggas watch? Do y'all not watch fighters and break them down, nigga? Or do you just watch the fight and think that the fuck you look at?
Roy Jones Jr. said he was number 2 pound for pound right now, and I'm like, are you fucking serious, my dude?
Well, we all know Roy got HBO, man. He worked for HBO.
Roy,
that's what.
Exactly. He worked for HBO, and that motherfucker got brain damage. I'm not worried about his assessment on anything. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking at Loma. I'm like, dog, look at these fucking flaws, nigga. Y'all don't see that shit? And then I got to tell myself, you know what? They don't see it because they don't know how to break a fucking fight down. So that's why I'm always like, all right, let me stay out of it. These niggas don't know what they're talking about. The day has already come. He already lost Orlando Salido, and if he does rematch Orlando Salido, he'll fucking lose again probably, okay? Because that particular style beats his style, okay? He's not defensively sound enough to keeping the aggressor and the bigger guy off of him. He will probably beat him again in a rematch. That's why they're not trying to get this nigga his money. Exactly. And then this is another thing. I'm hearing Lomachenko has power. No, he doesn't.
Yo, he's fighting WBO opponents.
Yeah, man. It's out of control, man. I like Lomachenko. He's in my pound for pound top 10 now. I have him at number 9. I like him. He's a great fighter, great talent. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny his skills. But let's just stop with the overhyping, man. This is getting ridiculous. Overhyping these European fighters, man.
The Muhammad Ali thing was too much from Bob, man. He oversold it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was just too much. And then to see that, you know.
Wait a minute, fellas.
It's still very amateurish, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still see it's an amateur style at the end of the day.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The first, you know, the 6 rounds that I saw, that's what it panned out to be, was an amateur style. You know, and Walter's just not pulling the trigger. You know,
Walter didn't come to fight at all, bro. He didn't come to fight at all.
You know, according to Bob Abrams, Lomachenko is a more complete fighter than Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, he shit on Floyd every chance he get. I ain't worried about that. He shit on Floyd every chance he get. I bet if that was Floyd fighting Salido, he'd have whooped his ass. Whether he was 30 pounds overweight or whatever. I mean, I ain't worried about what.
Well, he already fought somebody like that twice. Marcos Maidana. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about if he was his second pro fighter. I mean, I don't think he would have had trouble with Salido. That's what I'm saying. Comparing that, you know, the younger Floyd to, I guess, what they're comparing him there.
Yeah,
complete fighters don't lose to Salido.
Exactly. Especially with Lomachenko's style. If you're defensively sound with Lomachenko's style, you're supposed to cruise against Salido type fighters. But the fact that he's not defensively sound, that's why he loses those fights. That's why he loses with his style.
It's like weak as fuck, man. I wasn't impressed with his fight against on the undercard made with Pacquiao. I thought maybe I'm the only one, but dude was giving them some hell on the inside of that. I just think when he go up against a guy that's bigger, you know, and is skillful, I think he's gonna take another L. That's just me, but. I mean, he good, but I mean, I'm not about to be bragging on him. Yeah, his resume ain't that good either. I mean, he fought Martinez, who had 2 fights with Salido, 2 wars. You know what I'm saying? So, gotta take that into too.
I mean, if you notice, there's things that he does against those C-level fighters that he fought. I mean, you really look at his resume. All he's fought is, I mean, he's got 7 fights. I mean, Nicholas Walters is on there now, but before Nicholas Walters, it was just really Gary Russell Jr. I mean, Roman Martinez is a 3-time champion at 130 pounds, but he's one of those champions, those multiple champions that are actually B-level fighters at best. You know what I'm saying? Like a Nate Campbell. You know, Nate Campbell wasn't an elite fighter, but he was a multiple champion. You know what I'm saying? That Juan Diaz is another one. He was a multiple champion, but he's definitely not an elite fighter, probably B- at best. That's what Roman Martinez was. So he's not a big-time world beater, elite type of fighter. The only really good guy, and at that time he wasn't considered elite on his resume, is Gary Russell. So,
exactly.
And motherfuckers are going crazy over this dude, and it's like, hold on. We need to get him in the ring with somebody that's actually elite and at their 100% on their game. Then we can make that assumption. I mean, come on now, dog. It's common sense to me. And maybe because I've been breaking down fights for over 2 fucking decades, that's probably why it's common sense to me. But other motherfuckers that just jump on a bandwagon and they watch HBO and they watch highlights and shit, and they say Kovalev wins by landslide, and you tell them to break it down and you get no response, those type of motherfuckers, these are the ones you hear saying this shit about Lomachenko, man. It's ridiculous.
I seen somebody say that Triple G, Lomachenko, and Sergey Kovalev got the boxing game locked down, and I just started laughing because that's some bullshit. If I have seen some recently, I mean, man, I don't know what it is, man. I ain't gonna say what I think it is, but I mean,
2K, you mentioned there were some fighters you thought that would give Loma some trouble. So go into detail about them. Some of the fighters you think that would give him. One of the fighters I think off the top of the head, if he does the 135 jump, is of course, Garcia and Dahan, they both give him trouble at 135. Of course, Easter Jr. at 135. These guys all give him trouble. But go ahead if you in the detail about some of the guys you thought.
Well, yeah, you just took my biggest one. Easter Bunny, Richard Comey, Jorge Linares, Vladic Cannon, that's at 135. At 130, you got Takashi Miura will give him a little bit of trouble. You got Francisco Vargas might give him a little bit of trouble. I think Orlando Salido beats him. Okay. Let's see. Jose Pedraza, I don't like him very much, but let me put it this way. Given the style,
he's fundamentally sound. Yeah, he's fundamentally sound enough to where he could counter Loma's shit. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, his counter-punching ability will give Loma a little bit of trouble. I think Loma would beat him, but that's an intriguing matchup. At 126, Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz. You know what I'm saying? Gary Russell. A lot of motherfuckers are like, I don't want to see a rematch because Lomachenko just steamrolled Gary Russell. Understandably so, but Gary Russell is doing a lot of things differently that he did back when he was fighting Vasyl Lomachenko. There's a lot of things he doesn't do anymore that was a disadvantage for him in that Lomachenko first fight. And he's actually looking better now. I want to see the rematch between those two. And then, of course, at 122, motherfucking Rigo. And then they're calling out Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford might stop this dude. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, man.
I want to see Jorge Linares. I want to see Jorge Linares and Lomachenko.
Yeah. That's a good fight right there, yep.
Yeah, 135 definitely needs to be his limit because I see him getting a lot of, I won't say stoppages, but I don't see him doing that much. The only really other fight I want to see him at 130 against is probably these two fighters, Jezreel Corrales, even though I know 2K probably going to oppose to that just because he say he a little bit too wild. Corrales, I know he would come to fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, with his athleticism, and I know he's going to come to bring it. You know what I'm saying? So that fight right there. And the other fight that's intriguing to me is Tevin Farmer at 130.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about that nigga,
Tevin Farmer, I think he poses some interesting problems for Loma at 130. For anybody at 130. Just like he's just so fucking well-rounded and diverse. He sparred with Loma, so I think he may have picked up a lot of things. Loma hasn't grown as a fighter if you looked at him. Like, no, he's the same. He's the same guy. Like, he hasn't grown. A pressure fighter is going to get are going to be guys that give him the kind of issues, the Marcos Maidana types that could pressure him, or anybody like I said, or the Dahan Vladic, a fighter like that. These are the guys that are going to give him problems throughout his career. Are long rangey guys, which he's going to be dealing with if he moves up to 135. They're all super longer and rangier and bigger than him.
Bro, this time next year, man, when people gonna be saying a different tune about Lomachenko.
I mean, and he's only had 7, 8 fights. So you know what I'm saying? Like Top Rank is definitely milking it for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? For right now, they're getting what they can out of him. The way I look out of it, I look at it.
But they only bring it. All he is fighting for is WBO belts.
The way I look, I look at it like it's been a selective process. The Nicholas, excuse me, it's been a selective process even with the Roman Martinez fight. Like these were like hand me, give me fights.
Yeah,
like Roman Martinez was never more than a B fighter.
Yeah,
the fight this weekend could have been something so competitive if Top Rank or whatever the situation was. It's like this fight was a wasted fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was.
It's like this fight shouldn't have been made because it's bullshit.
I mean, what Walters is taking a lot of criticism, in hindsight, which I think is okay because he fucking quit. He's made a lot of different excuses after saying, after saying the 11-month layoff wouldn't play a factor, but you knew it would against a guy like Lomachenko. Like, you just can't take that lightly, man. And to me, I'm like, the fight I saw, it wasn't a fight to where I'm like, Nicholas Walters couldn't have beat him if he was active. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of agree to him there. I agree with him on that point. If he had been active this whole time, you know, I think he puts up a whole lot better fight, because the seventh round was the only really big discrepancy in the fight. The rest of them was just Loma doing his amateur shit and pretty much
pity-patty smacking him.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing important, and Nicholas, just his timing was off, you know.
Exactly.
Everything was bad about that fight. I seen him inching in instead of using his range. You know, he was throwing the jab and looking good. I seen him go to the body a couple times and it looked good.
Uppercut, he landed like the fourth round.
Yeah, he didn't throw a lot. He didn't throw the uppercut a lot, which has always been a signature punch of his. You know, which he uses for timing. He didn't do that a lot, which I know he could have caught Loma with from what I was seeing in the fight. So
he been
to further support Bernard's point. He said Loma only fights for WBO belt, a fight that I really want to see over any of the fights that I just named, against the fighters I just named. And he is a WBO champion at 126. Is Oscar Valdez. That fight could be made. He's with Top Rank. He's a WBO champion. Also, Lomachenko can still make 126. They can make that fight, but I guarantee you they won't make it. I'll put money on it.
Yeah, and Valdez actually they fought in the amateurs, I believe, and I believe that was one of Loma's toughest fights that he's even said in his amateur rank. So he gets Valdez, and Valdez is very improved compared to what we've seen earlier in his career under Manuel Robles. Robles has got him doing the whole pivoting and angling thing that we see Lomachenko do. So to see them match up together, that would be very impressive. Valdez is going on record saying he wants to fight Gary Russell because he feels like that's the real guy at 126 as well. So,
Did you guys mention? I just came back. Did you guys mention Jorge Linares?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know I asked that earlier.
Judgment Day gonna come for Lomachenko.
But you know, Robert Easter at 135, Lomachenko wants no piece of him there.
Yeah, that height alone.
I think Mikey Garcia, you know, he could fight a pressure style when he has to. He's much good at that boring play.
That's a fight I want to see. Now, I need Gamboa to get like 3 fights though. That's a fucking intriguing fight, and I remember they were talking about that fight months back, Lomachenko versus Gamboa. That's an excellent fucking fight if we can get Gamboa at 100%, bro. Because Gamboa's style is another. He has another style that can actually trouble someone like a Lomachenko, especially Lomachenko that I've seen against Walters. Absolutely. Yep.
Got it all.
Oh yeah.
Got it all.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a great Top Rank is, man. Bob and wait for a lot of fights to fucking
basically we put out some good fights out there for Lomachenko. For y'all saying that he's invincible, you know what I'm saying? He's not, you know what I'm saying? We're not saying anything bad. I know y'all gonna try and label us the Eastern Bloc haters based on what we said about Kovalev tonight and Lomachenko. It ain't nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But we fair in our courtesy in our analysis. You know what I'm saying? Lomachenko is definitely a top 10 pound for pound talent. I give him that.
Hold on for a second, man. Hold on. I gotta ask this shit. For anybody that wants to say that, did we say that Lomachenko is a hype job? Did we say that Lomachenko is completely over fucking rated?
Nope.
So I just want to say, for anybody that say that, we didn't use the code words that you motherfuckers like use for our fighters. We didn't use them code words.
We didn't say fair play,
right? We didn't say, we didn't use the code words that y'all like using when it comes to, to the fighters that we like because of their style. Let me say it that way so won't nobody get the wrong stupid ass fucking idea if I say our fighters.
They gonna form their opinions regardless of what we say. So ain't no need to you entertain it. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right, man. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to put it out there. It ain't nothing like that. Like we got to hate against the Eastern Europe bloc fighters or nothing like that. It ain't nothing like that. We just try to be open and fair in our criticism and what we see. Like I said, I think I see things differently than most of the people I talk to in fights all the time. And like this is probably the only group of guys that I might be able to come into a common consensus with for the most part when we analyze fights. So to me, to have that common ground with people compared to most of the, I won't say casuals, because I won't say everybody is, but compared to a lot of the groups I'm in and some of the things I see them say, I'm like, okay,
I know what you're talking about.
But I definitely need that grounding, you know, just to know that I'm not like too fucking far off the wall in my thoughts, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? It is good to have that here with the fellas. So big up, guys. That said, we're going to go into our U.O.E.N.O segment of the day. On this day in 1980, we had the late, great Matthew Saad Muhammad. He knocked out Lottie Mawale in my hometown of San Diego, California, to retain his WBC light heavyweight title. Rest in peace to Matthew Saad Muhammad, you know what I'm saying, one of the greatest light heavyweight fighters ever. You know what I'm saying? With that said, we're going to move along. I guess we got our final blow segment coming up today, and to cover that one, we got 2K. What you got for us today, man?
Oh, I ain't got much to say, man. We pretty much covered a lot. I mean, it's the one thing I just want people to remember is that when we have excellent matchups in boxing, obviously there's going to be a lot of emotion surrounding the fight. I mean, you've got people, real boxing enthusiasts like myself and the people on this panel who we don't favor one fighter because we're emotionally attached. We actually favor a fighter based on his style compared to the other fighter's style. We break down the fights, we compare and contrast, and we come to a logical conclusion for why fighter A will beat fighter B. But the majority of a lot of the emotion that's surrounding fights in boxing is because of, number one, what I always see all over social media, and a lot of people like to put a blanket on top of it and try to cover it up, race. Race is always the number one thing that is the driving force for the emotion that is surrounding a boxing match. If you've got a white fighter versus a black fighter, it doesn't even have to be, Russian, Mexican, anything like that. If there's a white fighter versus a black fighter or any other fighter that's not black versus a black fighter, race always gets pulled in. I don't know why the fuck it's like that, but it is what it is, okay? And then the other thing is fighters just love certain boxers no matter what. I mean, you can love a boxer but still be real with yourself if you have the ability to break down fights and analyze styles, okay? But a lot of these guys out here, they don't know how to do that. And that's my biggest thing. That's why I'm not active in a lot of these groups. I see all your fucking posts out there, but I don't comment because I know your ability. I've been around these groups for years. And so I see a lot of the same motherfuckers in a lot of different groups all over different social media websites, and you're regurgitating the same information that you hear somebody else say. I never hear nothing from you. So if you don't see me commenting on shit, it's because I don't respect your fucking opinion, because you can't break down a fight. Plain and simple. Boxing 101. Boxing analysis 101. Break down the fight. You can't do that. So you have no opinion. And that's the problem with a lot of these guys, man. So what I urge people to do, just take this away from what I'm saying. Before you say anything about matchups in boxing, right? Break the fight down. Develop. Even if you can't do it well, you'll get better with time. Try to break the fight down. Watch some film. Study some tape. That's what the fighters do whenever they're getting ready to fight an opponent. They don't just hop in the ring. Regardless of what they tell you, they don't just hop in the ring. They always watch tape. Floyd Mayweather always watched tape. I'm sure Sergey Kovalev watched tapes on Andre Ward because he knew to jab downward at Andre Ward when he was dipping and coming in. He nullifies pretty much Andre Ward's inside attack for the majority of the fight. So I'm pretty sure he watched tape on Andre Ward. So you should do the same thing before you come to a conclusion for why you think this fighter A beats fighter B. On top of that, cherish the matchups we get because boxing is now a fucking business. It's about 99.99 with a little bar on top of the last 9, meaning infinite 9 of fucking business, okay? So when we do get these matchups that we want to see, we need to cherish it, and we do not need to put shade on the decision just because your favorite fighter didn't get the fucking nod. That's all I got to say about that, man.
Well said.
Agreed. That definitely agreed, man. With your last point being said, with your fighter not getting a nod, we've seen that more recently with this Ward Kovalev fight. It's caused a lot of a heated debate over the past week or so, as far as it being considered a robbery and whatnot. Further thing from that, we've seen robberies in boxing, and trust me, this wasn't anything close to that. But we've seen it spark some heated debate. So, you guys need to lay off, chill, you know what I'm saying, and, analyze the fights like 2K said, man. Really go back and analyze these things and see the fall off in Kovalev in the second half of that fight. See him hesitant to pull, see him pulling his punches like you've never seen him do. And
most people,
and this is a different Kovalev you're seeing in the ring. You're seeing him in there against a mastermind. You're seeing him in there being, outthinking himself. Being pushed to his mental limits. These are things that you got to be able to pick up on analyzing yourself because they're not going to do it on HBO for you. Sky Sports, I think they do a good job. Like I said, I'm glad Paulie's joined their team, and he was actually on their on that actual team for that night. I didn't get to hear it because, of course, me and Menard were there live. But I'm glad he's there. With Sky Sports to give them that kind of analysis to hear 2K and them, and the guys say, follow up and say, they were pinpointing on the money and what they were saying. That lets me know because I listen to Sky Sports when I'm streaming for the most part. When I'm not at these fights live, I watch Sky Sports. So that lets me know they're on point and they're staying consistent in their ways. American media, we got to do better, man. We got to do better. Even in the Lomachenko coverage, everything else, we just got to be more accurate in what we're putting out there. Put out everything.
Be professional,
Yeah, I just think put out all plausible theories. You know what I'm saying? When there's something that just doesn't seem right about something, put it out there. Because there's certain things that did not seem right about that Walters Lomachenko fight. Bo pinpointed so many of them, so big up to him on that. He put a lot of it out there. There's just a lot of things that didn't seem right about that fight. And, like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch of it sometime down the line when Walters gets his shit together. It's starting to turn into the Winky, I won't say the Winky Wright school of business, but it's turning into a bad school of business for Walters right now, just based off of this past year for him. So he needs to get that corrected. Like I said, he shouldn't have re-signed with Top Rank. That was bad decision number one. So, I don't know what the status of his contract is, but, we'll be paying attention to that moving forward. What fights we got coming up for the rest of this year, fellas? We got Charlo and J-Rock coming up. Yeah,
that's the one.
That's the big one. That's the definite big one. We got Uri Garcia versus Dennis Lebedev coming up.
Brancy Barrera.
Okay, so we got a couple of big fights coming up to round out the rest of this year, man, and we gonna be speaking on those coming up. I think Gassiev is next week. Then after that, then the week after that is going to be J-Rock and Charlo, right, on December 10th. So we got those coming up.
Homage to the late.
We got Cuellar, we got Cuellar, Mares, we got B-Hop and Joe Smith Jr. Man, we got
a lot of good fights
stuff coming up. Yeah, we got interesting stuff coming up the rest of the year, man, for boxing. So, like I said, fighting is a year-round sport. That's the good thing about boxing. It's year-round. There ain't no breaks. There ain't no summers and shit like that. And time off like with the other sports. We get shit year-round. You know, November, good month, fight of the year candidates. December, good fights to top off the year. That's it, man. We gonna end this show. For my co-hosts, you know, we got Bone Menard of The Truth and Facts About Boxing. We got Big Cool from Colossal Boxing Talk. We got 2K from the Guys of Boxing Talk, and I am Twan Liberty from HoopJab.com. Together we are the movement.